you've got a thirst to win. Only one soda gives you that extra oomph you need to be your best. Oomph Cola, packed with ginseng, taurine, and Pop Rocks. With the power of Pop Rocks and Cola combined, your stomach lining will be ripped apart by tiny pockets of carbon dioxide. But not before sweet victory. Oomph Cola and Pop Rocks. The deadly soft drink with a taste that's fantastic.
Whoop, sorry. That was a quick. Wanted to test our audio there.
No, that's what we were supposed to do. Test it again.
We're testing. We are testing. Nothing. There we are. There we are.
See? That's
All
good.
right, good to go.
Get that one out of the way so we don't have to explain it later.
So we don't have these long, elaborate conversations. And then I never know what happened.
Oh, you've gotten really good at explaining the audio isn't working with sign language.
We need some cards, too.
Yeah.
Somebody introduced some cards today on one of our calls. And it was just a way of using profanity without actually saying it. So you just hold the card up. That's a whole different type of red card. So, but yeah, what's up? We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to unpack here today. But we're still, you feel like you got a big game hangover? How was your big game event?
Big game event was good. It was good, yeah. I was a good game.
It was actually, it was a really good game.
Lots of chatter. I always love the post-game commercial introspection.
Yeah.
I guess maybe that's just my vibe, but love hearing all the opinions.
Yeah. No, it's always the Monday morning quarterbacks. But I also like not just for the game itself, but rating the commercials. Ben Affleck, we figured out he was the triple threat of the night. So he was the culture pop hero showing up 3 different times.
Dunkin,
yeah,
and Nike, and Batman. Dunkin and Batman's pretty big, but you add Nike.
Yeah, you add Nike. Oh, and what's the deal with? It hit me that Casey Affleck also did a Dunkin' Donuts spot.
He did the SNL sketch. Yeah,
it's like, what is it with the Afflecks and Dunkin' Donuts?
I think the Afflecks bought Dunkin'. I think that's what's happening.
It's so associated with Boston now.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know when that happened. But did you ever believe in 2023 we'd be watching a Dunkin' Donuts commercial with J-Lo?
Nope, didn't have that on my bingo card.
Yeah, did not have that on my bingo card either.
Dude, I have a pitch right now, Ben Affleck, if he's listening, because I know he does.
Yes.
Do the Time to Make the Donuts guy again, and put Matt Damon in it. You know how many donuts that would sell?
That would sell all the donuts. Although they're trying to get away from donuts. What's up,
What else?
Tubes?
What's up, Tubes?
Yeah. Why is Dunkin' Donuts trying to get away from donuts? They just all of a sudden decided they wanted to pick a fight with Starbucks.
Yeah. Well, what else do they have now?
Coffee.
They've always had coffee.
I know, but like if you go to the Northeast, Dunkin' Donuts coffee is the coffee. That's the go-to coffee.
Yeah.
Just for the chain coffees. I mean, I don't think we have that here in Austin. It's more about, your local joint. I think still reigns supreme. Not that that's not going to stop any monster lines from forming around any Starbucks, but I liked Dunkin' Donuts. But whatever, man. I mean, I think now it's about specialty donut shops.
Yeah.
Right? The Voodoo Donuts. The Voodoo Donuts like bigger than your head, bigger than your face.
That's a bit too much donut for my taste.
With a whole box of cereal on it. It's just like, we took this donut and put an entire box of Crunch Berries on it. Yeah. Enjoy. It literally is like Taco Town.
And it's like a loaf of banana bread with cereal on top. Is what you get as a donut. I like donuts that are mostly air in the middle.
Yeah, you like it very aerated.
Very
donuts.
light and pockets of air.
Yeah, the ones that kind of almost like just kind of dissolve in your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rainbow's on there.
What's up, Rainbow?
Yeah, she's going to be joining us here soon, talking about the horrors of
More
love.
so, this is our first guest takeover.
Yeah.
Of one of our shows. See, I was talking about you this when I pitched this. It was like, when you do SNL, Saturday Night Live, we're doing House Show Live. I don't know if you know this, but the host actually gets to direct.
Yeah, you were telling me that.
They actually get to pick all the sketches and everything.
Is that why Steven Seagal to this day is the most hated man from SNL? Like he was one of those jerk directors?
Yeah, didn't you see, like, there's a sketch in there that he I guess he pitched or okayed or whatever, where he just goes into a room of corporate execs and just beats them up and does all his gimmicks, breaks arms and throws people over his shoulder. And then he just looks at the camera and he's like, "Don't pollute." And that's a shoot. That's out there. You can watch that sketch.
Yeah, I think that's worth going back and watch. I always mean to, like, I got to go back and find that again because he's so infamous. I feel like people still name drop that too.
Yeah.
So it's become really famous.
Again, he wouldn't sell for Chris Farley. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, how do you not sell for Chris Farley?
So that's
unreal. So, but we are going to be selling for rainbowFRIGHT today. That's right, because we have a total of 9 movies in the love and horror, the horrors of love. And by the way, when you came up with that title, you automatically made me brainworm Huey Lewis, and I've just been singing, "That's the horrors of love." That's
nice.
All,
no,
yeah.
I didn't. Now that's going to brainworm on me.
Yeah, it just totally brainwormed on me, though. So we're going to be picking out, even though February 14th was yesterday, I think February is associated as the month of love, right?
I think so.
I think it's safe to say that, and maybe it's a coincidence that it's short. It's the shortest month, but it is.
Sometimes there's an extra day every 4 years.
Yeah, but we were just like, when I was going through the list, I was like, wow. Yeah, you just hit me, man. February 29th is February's love side piece. Every 4 years.
Yeah, right.
But it hit me that, like, this has been something that's been going on in horror for a long time. So we're going to dig deep into that. And then
Huey Lewis and the booze. And the booze. That's good. Nice, JJ.
And then we have also one of our favorites here is the Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs. They had the Vicious Vegas Valentine, and they went all the way through with the Gimmick. They got 2 mutants of the mutant fams. We are proud members of the mutant fam.
I'm gonna need a breakdown of that second movie because I didn't make it through it. Oh my God. And I'm sad I missed it.
I'm actually nervous to, like, how to present it. Like, when I was talking to you guys last night, I was like, I was legit nervous. Like, how do you present this? Because that reaction that I put on Twitter was pretty much summed it up. And to the point where, Darcy the Mail Girl, we got lucky. We got a retweet from her on that. And she was like, I know, right? Because this ending, it's up there with Faces of Death for me.
Wait, how did Faces of Death end?
Well, Faces of Death never.
Because wasn't that just stock footage?
It was just stock footage. And then we found out we saw that during Fantastic Fest that was a work.
Right.
But I don't think this was a work.
No?
So I don't know. There's definitely, I'll save it, but it's going to blow your mind. But the first movie, I really enjoyed it. Their first movies have been just every time they hit really well. And The Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge, is everything you need about the 80s.
Yeah.
I feel like Stefan, Phantom of the Mall, has everything you need. It has Pauly Shore, Morgan Fairchild, a mall. What was the name of the stores that we saw? Sam Goody's.
Miller's Outpost.
Miller's Outpost.
I remember Miller's Outpost.
It had everything's 80s. So this show was a hit to me, and it really made me miss. I'm ready for them to come back on a regular cadence. Although I love just them doing their holiday flavors for sure, but I have a feeling they're going to be coming back in April. That's just my guess.
Yeah,
So,
Easter
yeah.
Joe Bob. I can see that.
Yeah, but we'll do that. But before we start digging in and before we bring Rainbow in here, we got to talk about some of those spots in the big game. So what was your favorite? We're just going to go to the movie trailers. Favorite movie trailer?
Favorite movie trailer? Well, I don't know if this one officially even played, but I have to say I think it was the Guardians trailer.
Oh, yeah, the whole gimmick of just like, we're only paying for 30 seconds. Now you got to go online to watch the rest of it.
Yeah,
the teaser for
I
the
didn't
trailer.
watch it till like after the game, like late after the game.
Yeah,
and
me
I was
too.
like, oh, this is actually really good.
Yeah. Emotional. Way more emotional than I expected. I'd have to say, besides Patrick Mahomes, I think James Gunn was the biggest winner on Big Game Sunday.
He's competing against himself.
He was competing against himself and enjoying it. Like he was leaking out, but he did get flashed to get leaked out first. Like the trailer technically debuted before it did debut on TV. It debuted online. He leaked that out. Then he started leaking out the Guardian stuff. I love that he's still staying loyal. To me, I'm happy that he is in the position he is. And I think people are going to, this moment of time with the Henry Cavill release, the Snyderverse, I think if people are patient, I think James Gunn is going to deliver.
Yeah.
Because he won the day. Besides Ben Affleck's, all his spots, James Gunn, that Flash trailer, for all the crimes and misdemeanors and controversies that are surrounding this movie, and they still decided they're going to release it. And he's like, this is probably the best comic book movie I've ever seen.
I'm positive that many pants were ruined during that spot for multiple types of reasons and fluids, because like when Keaton drops the "I'm Batman" again after
Wow.
40 years, come on.
Yeah, that was big.
And that's huge. I think that's going to be a big get. That's why James Gunn is like, wait a minute, let's go ahead and use this.
Right,
Do something with this.
Because the rumor was they were going to cut that, right?
Right.
They were going to cut that. Why cut anything? Don't cut. At this point, the only thing that I think that you could have justified doing, and it sucks, and after watching it, you realize you can't do it, is I would have been okay if they CGI'd Ezra's face. I know you don't want to do innocent until proven guilty, and I know he plead and he's getting help, and I don't know if that means you go to movie jail or what's going to be. He plays that character really well, but unfortunately what he does in real life offsets that, and there's no way he can survive after this, and it's going to suck because I think he hit it out of the park, and he's going to unfortunately not to get to reap the benefits of this.
And James Gunn is going to be like, I'm going to use this as a spark
Yeah.
to set my universe on fire.
Yeah.
And we will burn you up on the way out. And that'll be that.
Did you know anything about Supergirl? I didn't know anything about that. Did you?
I knew she was in it. I had seen
you
behind the scenes
did?
photos. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. And I followed that actress, and she floored me. And I am a mark for Henry Cavill. I mean, Christopher Reeve is kind of like my Roger Moore. Like that's the dude for me. But
I feel the same for sure.
I had no heat with Henry Cavill, and I thought he did a great job. But this girl, she blew me away.
Yeah.
Like she floored me. She was stealing my eyeballs away. And I think this is going to turn into, this is more of a Batman, goodbye mixed with a Supergirl origin story. And now I'm really excited because that's one of the films he announced is that Supergirl story.
I think, though, Keaton is in Aquaman, right?
That's the rumor.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, you might as well keep him in there.
And I think
that's the last dance, right?
Yeah, and I think the rumor is right now they're adding Christian Bale.
Oh, man.
So he'll get a cameo in there. They're adding at least one more Batman. I mean, they all saw Spider-Man No Way Home. They're just like, oh, okay, let's just get as many Batman as we can.
Yeah,
we have at least 4.
I'm pretty excited that we live in a time that you can get away and do that, and you don't have to worry about continuity. We're going to be talking about a lot of spoilers today, but I'm going to give one now. I don't know if anyone has seen the last James Bond, but I hated the way that film ended. I hated it. Like, we know that there's going to be the passing of a torch. This is the first time that they had it in the story where they acknowledged it and kind of closed it off, and it sucked.
I have no idea. I did not see it.
Oh, yeah. I'm not even going to give it time. My point being is that we live in a time now where you can it's not just in comic book movies, right? Science is talking about multiverse, and it's becoming less of a theory. It's becoming, we hear...
Same thing with aliens. Apparently, they're just real.
Yeah, apparently they are.
We're living in a Space Invaders cabinet.
Although I'm bummed out, man. It's just like, no, these aliens got to be better than that. They didn't really get shot down, right? They drove all the way here in their space Uber, their space Pinto, just to get shot down. Like, You figure if you knew how to make it to another planet, you'd be able to deflect a missile. I don't know. But anyway, we live in a time where we can have all these heroes on the same screen. That Spider-Man No Way Home showed us the way, and Flash is going to drive it home. So yes, get as many Batman as you can. I don't care. Get George Clooney's nipples in there.
He might be back too.
He might be back. Like, are you going to have any heat with that if George Clooney showed up?
No.
I wouldn't have
Who has heat with George Clooney?
Apparently, he's the most despised Batman, and I have no heat with him on that. Like, maybe it wasn't the best film. Maybe. I probably had more heat with Bane, even though that was a professional wrestler, Jeep Swenson, and he didn't really have any lines. But, like, it became a little bit more cartoonish. But that was a director's choice. But I have no heat with, like, if George Clooney shows up, I'm fine with it. What I'm really, really hoping for in The Flash, and I don't know how they're going to do it, but they need to do it the same way they did it with Loomis in Halloween. I need a Christopher Reeve cameo in there. I need it. I somehow need it.
I mean, that could happen.
Yeah.
That's
and,
where
again,
we
and
live.
JJ's talking about Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer was a great Batman. He just did it once, but it was great.
He was just in Top Gun. Let's get him back for this
Yeah,
too.
let's just get him in here too. I'd love to see it. So I'm really excited. To me, obviously, The Flash, I was the most excited about the trailer, even though I love the Guardians trailer and it got me really emotional, and you realize something's going to go down and tears will be flowing.
Yeah.
But this culmination of the DC universe was a long time coming. We've been on an emotional roller coaster with DC, with the Snyderverse, and what are they going to do and what they're not going to do, and what's canon and not canon. This is the first time we have direction, and I'm here for it because these are all heroes that we love. I don't know about you. I mean, there's people that pick Marvel and DC, but I mean, I'm just comic book Mark, and I just want to see it done correctly on screen, and I think James Gunn is going to be that guy.
Yeah, I think he's going to do well. I think it's going to, and like I said, he's got this Flash movie that he didn't even have to make, and it's sort of like it's a wild card, you know? It's going to give him the license to reset everything over, and I'm pretty sure he's going to do a great job. But what I was going to mention was, isn't it crazy how he's right now booking himself against himself? Yeah. And he's doing that whole thing, like you talked about, don't bury your opponent. He's putting himself over at Marvel.
Yeah.
To then do the job for
exactly.
to DC.
He really is. He's not burying his opponent. He's honoring. That's a way when you win, you beat somebody worthwhile. I don't know. It's a good time. It's going to be a really good time. And at the same time, I don't know if it's a coincidence that Feige announced that they're going to be scaling back on the number of Marvel shows. You know, they're going to be less Marvel shows and they're going to separate them. But Marvel still did really well just showing Guardians. A lot of people wanted to see Secret Invasion. They wanted to see the Marvels, who apparently Kamala Khan is said to be stealing the show in that. So I'm really excited because her show got the least amount of fanfare. Like, it just came and went. You didn't even know it was on there. And supposedly she steals the show in the movie. So we also had Fast X, you know, the beginning of the end of the road. And we got Aquaman showed up in there. So in the water, ironically. But we did find out that we're going to be getting a Paul Walker type showing in Fast X, which I think is really fitting.
In a flashback, right?
Yeah, in a flashback. So I like honoring the characters because, again, when we lose a lot of actors, and it sucks, a lot of great actors, but in a way, these actors all become timeless. You know, Roy Scheider and Quint, they're still with us. You know, every time you watch them, they're just exactly the same. They become immortal. So I like that he is going to honor that. John Cena's in there. It looks like The Rock is the only one that's not going to be in there. And I am curious if Gal Gadot is going to show up.
I don't see why not. She's not doing anything.
Right?
I'm sure they can. If they brought Han back, why can't they bring her back? Can I just say something, though, real quick? Have you seen... I'm trying to find an image of it to pull it up live, but I can't find what I want. But Jason Momoa looks a little chunky in that trailer.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Have you seen any of the still shots?
Yeah, because I mean, I think we're all kind of used to seeing him like ripped to shreds, and I think it becomes very noticeable.
And I got no heat with that. That's fine, you know, be comfortable in your body. But it just makes me think. It makes me wonder, because we all know about Vin's ego. We've all heard the stories.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe Jason Momoa agreed to like gain some weight for that role?
So you can look the most ripped.
Yeah, so that way he can put Vin over on screen.
It's very possible. That is very possible. That's what we've heard. Yeah, like JJ put it, he just looks like he just rolled out of bed because he had the pirate puffy shirt from Seinfeld floating in the water and he had bedhead. But yeah, there it is.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
This is not screaming sex symbol right here. And he looks like he's purposely pulling his chin as close to his neck as he possibly can.
Maybe Vin Diesel, because Vin Diesel's technically the director, right? At this point,
He's the director, producer, writer,
yeah, he's all of it.
everything. This was all him.
Yeah, and on breaks we play Dungeons and Dragons. My set, my rules. Family. The two for me, before we pull rain, we're going to take a break here real quick, but the two losers for me, or I don't want to call them losers, but the two commercials that were very off-putting to me was the anti-Tesla commercials. You paid a lot of money to start a fight with Elon Musk, like in there.
And
In the middle of a Super Bowl.
I thought it was an ad for like another Jackass or something. It was just like
It was a real
running over
fight.
dummies of children.
No, I mean, look, if it's true, I was okay, but the rumor again, and it's on the internet, so you don't really know what's real. But they spent a lot of money to get that in front of us, and supposedly the guy who funded it is a competing software developer for AI driving tech. So I didn't follow through on any of this.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it was.
I'm going to drop a huge spoiler. Self-driving cars not coming soon. It's going to be a while.
Yeah. I mean, we were supposed to have flying cars like 20 years ago.
Flying cars will probably never be a thing.
No, I don't think so.
I can't imagine any way that works. You can't have just cars flying randomly all over the place.
Yeah.
You know? You have to have like sky highways.
You need it to look like Minority Report. Like
Something.
there's got to be order. Yeah, because in Attack of the Clones, I was like, somebody's going to bump into them.
Yeah.
But yeah, and JJ, yeah, that's another thing. Was so strange. Like it wasn't even high quality. This was like low res, and like you can see the boom in the shot. It was awful. That ad only ran in 5 or 6 cities. Oh, and that makes sense that they would have picked it here, right?
I guess because he's here.
They wanted Elon to see that.
Yeah.
So, what about the? And again, I don't want to get too deep into that, but the whole. Remember the angry commercial and like what are they so mad about? And then it was just like, Jesus knows or whatever. Like what was that commercial? Did you click through to find out what that was about?
No, I didn't click through it because it was on my television, so I wasn't sure.
They were so angry, and then all of a sudden I was like, yeah, he knows.
I thought it was a solid ad, though. I kind of enjoyed that one. Yeah. It was a nice swerve.
It was a big. Again, that's why I didn't want to call it the loser. I'd call it the biggest like felt out of place.
Yeah.
I did not see that one coming at all. You expect beer commercials, Dunkin' Donut movie trailers. I just did not expect that. Oh, yes. RJ, thank you for reminding me of that.
The random Tubi commercial.
The Tubi ad gets the MVP because if you go, there's a lot of BTS of people starting fights.
Yeah.
Yo, who's sitting on the remote? Yo, who changed it? Mr. and Mrs. Smith, what are you doing? So
that's very Andy Kaufman-esque.
I loved it. I mean, Andy Kaufman, Ashton Kutcher, he just like, look, we're going to play this and everybody's going to start a fight and it's going to be great. They're already angry, especially at that point. Can you imagine the Eagles fans were probably already putting their fists through screens?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, all in all, it was still
can I just go the best bang for your buck ad?
Yes.
The bang for your buck award.
Yes.
Goes to Coors and Miller Lite for going halves on an ad.
That's right.
And then splitting it, also giving the entail to Blue Moon.
Where did that come from?
I don't know, but it's solid. It's solid booking. Super Bowl ads are expensive. Do we really need two ads for beer? Let's just put them all in one.
In the end, you're just going to grab it most of the time. When you're at somebody's place, you're just going to grab it.
And shout out to beer. Shout out to cheap corporate beer for, trying to unite people.
Again, would you have that in your 2023 bingo card?
Coors,
cheap beer unites the world.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I mean, Rihanna was pregnant. All the memes of like her baby like dancing in there. We had our Burger King Whopper
Right.
memes in there, which was great. I am gonna miss those. That was probably
You know you're a star when you can go up there absolutely not sing and no one cares.
yeah. Oh yeah, nobody cared.
Nobody cared at all.
And you created so many memes. They gotta be in a way. You gotta be proud when you create those memes, right?
I think so.
I think you should be proud of that. So yeah, very entertaining. Big game day.
Memes are modern media.
Yes, let's do it. All right, cool. Let's do it. It's time for you want to sing it. That's the horrors of love. You want to take a quick break, or we're going to want it and then get her set up, and we will be bringing back our recommendations, including Rainbow Frights, for movies that are love and horror.
All right, we'll be right back.
BRB.
Now, get 2-day rentals on all new releases at Rogers Video.
Hi, Video Sam's got exciting news for you. You can now rent a video overnight and hire these great movies from only 99 cents. But the best news is that by purchasing our special package plan, you can have this VCR absolutely free. Ring now, 892-3311 for details of this amazing offer. You could have a video at home tonight. Remember, 892-3311. Video Sam's libraries are convenient to you.
Movie tonight on video. Movie tonight on video.
You can rent a video player, too. There's a store near you, sweetheart.
Movie tonight on video.
They're helpful and friendly with films for the whole family.
Movie tonight on video. Movie tonight on video.
I was telling you how.
What?
No, I was mesmerized. Again, we marked out for our own stuff here.
Oh, right, because you weren't here for all the prep here. So
Yeah.
Came in hot for this one.
This is.
All right.
This is official.
Introduce our guest host.
Yes, so she's joining us from her own. So please like, subscribe, and share on her channel as well. We've been fans of hers for a long time. We've been talking about wanting to do some kind of collaboration, and then the stars didn't align. And then luckily in February, the stars have aligned. And I was like, wow, this is a perfect topic. So I'm kind of glad this is a better topic for her than E.T. as a horror sequel, which we teased too, which we may still do.
I still maintain E.T. is actually a horror movie.
Oh yeah, I remember we talked about that.
Yeah, so we're going to do that. So please welcome to your YouTube screen, rainbowFRIGHT. Yeah. What's up?
Thank you.
I'm so psyched to see this screen alone, like, because we watch your stuff, and to see that screen, and I was like, wow, that's actually merged with our screen. This is an official.
Yeah.
This is
Imagine.
Yes, this is a Fright Show live, so it is perfect. So thank you.
Yeah.
so much for coming on and doing this. So
Pleasure.
yes, this will be really fun. So again, you've been doing, like, when did you start tubing? For lack of a better term.
Yeah, about 2 years ago, last January 7th was my 2-year anniversary. So for about that long. But yeah, I had also been doing video stuff like years prior to that. So I had some experience creating and stuff. So.
Nice. Yeah, you do a really good job creating your vibe for sure. And then we find out, like, again, this is how the way the Matrix works, and there are no coincidences. We find out like a week before that we're going to do this collab that she actually has a connection to the Host Incredibles network via AJ.
Oh, like, yeah, you know AJR. He actually does our pre-stream music. Shout out to AJR. He's recovering right now from some surgery, actually.
Yes, feel better, man.
AJ,
yeah, get better, man.
But yeah, y'all had a connection. I don't want to. I think I know where y'all used to work. I don't want to cut a promo on them or whatever. But I know it was that place with the.
Yes, we did work together. That's for certain.
That was that
many happy hours together.
That was that office with the secret data room, right? That nobody ever went into. Yeah. I heard stories.
Yes. You know.
Yes. Awesome. So let's start digging in, and Rainbow, feel free. We're gonna kind of let you run this spot. So what we're thinking here, it's the month of love. February 14th was yesterday, but let's dig in and give our 3 top films that we need to watch in February, usually related to love. And the history. This goes all the way back to Frankenstein, right? The Bride of Frankenstein. We're talking like almost 100 years ago. I didn't realize how entanglements that were involved between love and horror, but I guess it does drive you to do crazy things. So I was like, yeah, this would be a great topic for us to cover.
Exactly. Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. So we're gonna, since even though this is your show now, this is Fright Show Live, not House Show Live. So we're gonna allow you to go first. And you're going to give us your first selection of that movie that is your go-to for love and horror.
All right. Well, the first movie I will talk about is Spring. It's a newer movie from 2014. I've watched it a few times now, and it definitely grew on me with more watches. And it's just a really cool creature feature mixed with like a vacation movie, and it's kind of like your comedy romance but horror style, and you get some really cool looking effects with it. The scenery is beautiful. The locations in Italy are beautiful, and it's this story of just trauma throughout, this theme of trauma and rebirth also. And it's a fun little, okay, we are talking about spoilers here, so we can definitely do that.
Yeah, we're good with the spoilers here.
They've seen it was like 8 years ago. They've seen it.
Well, you never know. People be like, "Oh, that's interesting. I wanna be surprised by it." But
exactly.
Yeah, at this point, you definitely have had your time. But yeah, it's kind of cool seeing how the movie starts with his mother's death, and that kind of sends him off into this discovery of himself because his whole family is now dead, which was just his parents. And so he goes and kind of just tries to discover himself and falls in love with this woman really quickly. But she has this ancient, she is ancient, but she describes it as something that science hasn't yet really discovered. So it doesn't necessarily make it magic or supernatural. It's just not yet understood by scientists. And so, she has this ability to basically be impregnated by her lover and kind of just have a rebirth and just live continuously that way. And so she's currently in this movie 2,000 years old. One of the ways to kind of break this curse is if she falls in love with a man. And this whole 2,000 years of her existence, she's never fallen in love. And she tells him at the like last minute before she's due to have her rebirth and become a completely different person based, with his C. So she's going to become half of him essentially the next day. The one of the ways to break the curse is to be in love, like I mentioned, and telling him that, she's not in love. He's kind of just still hopeful and waits till the sunrise to see if, she will in fact become this other being. But when the sun does rise, lo and behold, she's still the same form, and meaning, she's fallen in love with him and she just didn't admit it to herself or to him. And it's just a nice little like Beauty and the Beast type love story, because he sees her when she's, octopusy looking and just grotesque. And, he goes in and he saves her, and, he stuck around even after that and still loved her. And so it was just a sweet moment at the very end. And I love that. I love love. It's one of my favorite things. I love, to watch all kinds of love shows, like reality, non-reality, and horror is one of my other loves. And so when they come together, I just really love it.
Is this a foreign film?
No, but it is shot overseas mostly. And I believe it has like a bunch of filmmakers I think it's like an international collaboration possibly. So yeah.
Yeah, I pulled out some deets on this, which because I thought it was
could read them out, because honestly, like when I was going through these, when I was setting up for the show, this is the only one I have absolutely never heard of.
And here's the crazy thing: there is an ATX connection to Austin, Texas. This was actually released through Draft House Films.
Oh, really?
And that's why I was surprised.
So you can get it at the vending machine at the Highball, right?
That's right. So it's a 2014 American romantic body horror film, which I thought was interesting that they called it body horror. But now once you said octopusy, it's like, okay, I get it. So the film follows Evan, a young man who travels to Italy to pursue a woman named Louise, who, unbeknownst to Evan, harbors a dangerous secret. Springs premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival. That's where it got its raves in 2014, before receiving a limited theatrical release through Draft House Films on March 20th, 2015, receiving positive reviews from critics and grossing $50K. So directed by Justin Benson, Aaron Moorhead, and yeah, like you said, Raymond, it looks like there's a collab here because it's...
Oh, wait a minute. I've heard of those directors.
Yeah.
They've done a few. They did that movie.
Yeah,
the one with Christopher Mackey where he smokes DMT and time travels.
What?
Have you seen that one?
No, but I need to see it immediately.
I got to think of the title. I'm not sure what it is. But yeah, those guys have been doing a lot of work lately. I didn't realize that was them. Okay.
But it's a great pick too, because I again, this is the fun part of doing this show too. Like I was telling you yesterday, now you pitched a movie. It's like, okay, I got to go out of my way to see this if I didn't see it. But this sounds great because you had me at reverse Beauty and the Beast. Like that's exactly how you need to do it, right? I love the idea that you have that reverse Beauty and the Beast, because I was a mark for Shape of Water too. And I love the feel of like with the love mixed into a monster feeling. Because like I was saying earlier, going all the way back to Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein, they've always found a way to intertangle itself. So that was a great pitch. Great pick.
Thank you.
Solid.
Thank you very much.
Solid.
Look forward to hearing y'all's thoughts on it.
Oh, there's your.
It's not coming through on your feed.
She's not going to hear it.
I just played your little logo thing at the end of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to love that. All right, Mario, you want to go or you want me to go?
No, you go next.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to start off with something also current. I'm going with Happy Death Day, which was a movie. Again, this is when I wasn't as much of a mark for Blumhouse as I am now. Like, this is when they were still feeling kind of new to me. This is 2017, so it was kind of recent. I thought originally it was released on Valentine's Day, but it wasn't. It was Friday the 13th in October. But the association with love here is it starts off like a very typical college one-night stand, waking up in the dorm room. I don't know who this person is next to me. I'm going to get out of there. And then it just literally takes you on the best ride. And these time loop movies are always great. The one on Hulu with Andy Samberg, right? We have Groundhog Day. There's a lot of good time. But this one, to me, used it in a very clever way because, she kept coming back and you saw her, all the injuries were staying with you. And it was like she was having to discover not only her killer, but she was having to discover herself along the way. And in the end, the random one night stand that she woke up with becomes her kind of like love partner in crime. And she kind of couldn't do it. So together they kind of got through it. And again, it felt this felt like this could have been a movie that was released in the 80s and would have fit in just fine. I love the mask. They very good use of Go Shorty, It's Your Birthday. I remember that trailer just just playing that song over and over again. So I don't know. Again, this was a simple movie. The second one kind of really started getting into the sci-fi of like rabbit holes, and I would almost label that one as science fiction. But this one had the true horror, even though they have it labeled as a black comedy, horror element. You got the killer with the very memorable mask, which ironically it kind of looks like it's a baby, but it looks like a cherub, which is why maybe I always associate it with love too. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys were marked for this movie, but I really did enjoy this movie.
I thought it was a solid movie. Like every time I see a movie, and you know this, Jeff, I always I think about the technical aspects of how they made it. So when I was watching this the whole time, I was thinking, I was like, what a way to pitch a movie, and you can save money. Here's a cheap pitch. We use all the same sets and costumes over and over and over, and just replicate the scene over and over in this time loop scenario.
Yeah.
And they do the movie for a fourth of the budget.
I didn't even think about that, and that's what's great about working with you as a director and a producer. You also see the practicality of it, of oh yeah, you're gonna just use the same set over and over again. The pitch for this one, for anybody who has not seen it, is it's Groundhog Day meets Scream, which I thought was really, really well. The only thing that was different, Scream, it felt like all those actors really broke out and they really associated themselves with the genre or the film. But this one, the casting was great, but I feel like nobody jumped into do other things, unless I'm wrong. Do you guys know that if anybody else in this film, if they gone on to do other films besides this?
I don't know.
Right?
I'm sure you can IMDb it, or we could find out. But
about the lead,
I feel like she was in something, but I don't know. Well, I have no idea.
Jessica Roth. She was great casting, but again, that's what makes it feel like 80s horror, right? It was hard. There was less Jamie Lee Curtis's out there back then, right? A lot of them became interchangeable. You get somebody that's just has a very cool look, but then you may never see them again. So after Happy Death Day to You, she did Valley Girl, Body Brokers, Boy Kills World. So again,
are those just teeny bop shows?
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me.
Or are those right? Stuff that I'm not going to be watching probably.
Yeah, exactly.
But she was great. I liked her. She was
Redbox stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although we had our short that did really well was accidentally called out Mario for being a mark for Gossip Girl. She was in Gossip Girl as Young Woman.
I thought I recognized her.
Not girl, young woman.
Young woman.
That'll get you a SAG card.
Yes, it will. Cool. But yeah, that's my pick. Happy Death Day. Like I said, I enjoyed Happy Death Day to You, but that got more into the sci-fi, so it was a different type of enjoyment. All right, Mario, you're up.
It seems like it's supposed to. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Just
Go
about
for it.
About Happy Death Day, those kind of movies. It seems like it's supposed to irritate me because it's so repetitive, but it's repetitive enough in a way where it's little things are different, throughout, and it is kind of also a mystery. So it's fun to just kind of piece things together. And by human nature, though, we do kind of like repetition because we know what to expect and we're looking for those things. So it makes it fun, like a puzzle, again, like a mystery. So those kinds of movies.
And
yeah.
I think age-wise, correct me if I'm wrong, I think if you like horror movie deep down inside, you're also a mark for Scooby-Doo. I think.
What? Why is that?
Scooby-Doo's all about mystery machines. I mean, they're everything, right? Look, it's got pizza. Clearly, Shaggy's smoking it up, right? You got everything you need. You got a van. You got a dog that you're talking to, and they're figuring out, and they got people running around cosplaying as yeah, that's horror movies, man.
Yeah. It was always amazing when Shaggy could shuffle the sandwich like a deck of cards. as well.
That's skills. That's skills.
All right, look, I'll go.
All right, go for it.
So I was trying to think of some ones that I thought were really great love and horror, and I think sometimes we sometimes forget that this one classic film is actually a horror movie. We always remember it for the romantic aspects, and I think that's what everybody sort of like calls out when you say the title. But really, the movie that I think is one of the ultimate love and horror movies is Ghost.
Oh my gosh, I was gonna say that. I was gonna guess it. Let me say it.
Whoopi Goldberg and Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore classic film, Ghost. Everybody remembers the ceramic scene.
Oh, yeah.
It got lampooned in, all kinds of stuff. That's what everyone thinks about. But this is literally about a ghost that's haunting his ex-girlfriend or ex-wife, right?
Yes. Yep.
There's a murder scenario. There's demons from hell that drag you to hell.
That's right. They did get tracked down.
When those dudes get dragged to hell, that's scary.
That is like very Frighteners feeling, too.
Right.
Now that you say that, it really did have that vibe.
It's a horror movie.
The guy on the train from
that guy's
Fast
scary.
Times, Vincent Schiavelli.
Vincent Schiavelli.
Yeah. He was very big in the 80s character actors. He was terrifying as the guy that haunted the train.
Yeah.
Your friend, that was a horror movie. There's your spot. Ghost is a horror movie.
Did you already say Whoopi got possessed too, of course?
There's demon possession, ghost possession happening in this movie. That's right. There's Ouija boards.
Look, when Whoopi got possessed, and I legit, as a kid, was like, Whoopi Goldberg is going to kiss Demi Moore on screen. Like, they're not, because they were getting like, so as a kid, you're like, whoa, this is really happening. And then they did the quick swerve at the jump. But yeah, she was great in that too. Like, I legit sometimes, if I have to slam the door, before I slam the door, I'll say, Sam Wheat! Boom! I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I was like, I'm sorry, I just got movie quotes stuck in my head.
Those demons were legit scary, JJ. That's right.
Yes, they were scary.
That's like the scariest part of the movie.
How did that movie not get requeled or rebooted or revisited? I mean, it holds up.
Maybe we're putting it out there in the universe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, Demi's still around. Swayze is an actual ghost at the moment,
He's an
so
actual
Yeah.
that might be a way to go. Sorry. Shout out. I love Patrick Swayze.
But
he would have appreciated that joke.
He would have, because
he's fine.
they just did it in Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah.
Harold Ramis is gone, and they cameoed his ghost.
Yeah.
And he's a ghost. So I think, look, if you're an actor or if you're a performer, are you going to have heat? Like, no, once I'm gone, forget me. Don't ever use it. Of course, you'd be like, yeah. James Earl Jones, like, you want my voice? You can have my voice, did little mouse. That's totally fine.
James Earl Jones sold his voice to Disney and CNN. He doesn't even have to show up. They just like AI it.
Yeah, talk about being timeless too. Well,
but anyway, go watch Ghost if you want a romantic horror movie.
That is a romantic horror movie. Let me give the official stats here. It was 1990.
Classic year.
But it really is amazing that it doesn't feel like it's been that long, but apparently it's been that long. And Jerry Zucker was the director of that. And of course, it made like
Jerry Zucker of The Naked Gun.
Right? From the guys who brought you The Naked Gun comes Ghost. And look, that poster of her, like, they're both clearly naked, and he's like kissing on her neck, and she's like, her head is like in the throes of love. That 1990 was like, okay, things are about to change here.
In late 1990s, sales of ceramic pottery equipment like just skyrocketed that year.
Yes,
everyone was doing it. It was like gonna spice up your life by making pottery.
Scouting out the teachers.
Just waiting for some random man to come up from behind them, and they live alone. And they're like, why is nobody behind me?
Sure wish there was a ghost here that would possibly.
Just keep looking behind you while you're doing it. What are you looking for? Nothing. Just waiting. Awesome. Good pick. I like it. That was like definitely, I did not expect that pick. Awesome. All right, Rainbow, you're up. What do we got next here?
All right. So my next pick is the Fly remake from 1986,
What?
Cronenberg's version.
Let's go!
Yeah.
Yes, Brundlefly. Brundlefly.
Yes.
Yes.
Love it. It's another, sort of Beauty and the Beast type situation,
Yeah.
but it's different because she knew him before, he was a beast, but still stuck around and wanted to help. But it's just, you're watching this love story just blossom, and you can tell with them when they meet that it's, a one-of-a-kind love. And I'm sure, lots of people watching and listening, whatever, you understand, like, there's sometimes just that one love, or you feel that anyway, and you've not felt that feeling before, and you can see that between the two of them. And I think it helped also that they were romantically involved in real life as well, Gina Davis and Jeff Goldblum. So there was that real chemistry there. And it just grew so quickly, and just as quickly, he just had all what he worked for just kind of go down the drain because of a simple haphazard mistake that he typically wouldn't have done, but he just got so excited, and it's just so tragic. It's just a tragic, tragic love story that happens to be body gore. And we see this awesome transformation. It's one of the best transformations in all of film, I believe, and it gets me single time.
It's like, it is super disturbing. And like, Cronenberg is the body horror guy. That's the guy.
Yeah.
Rick and Morty coined a whole term. It's like, this is a Cronenberg, but like, it's like, but like The Fly is like his most commercial movie, I think. And it's a little toned down almost. I feel like it's toned, the weirdness is toned down for Cronenberg. There's no exploding heads or like hands coming out of people's bodies or whatever, like Videodrome. But even at that, it's still,
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucked up. Like, the algorithm is going to punish me for that, but that's the only way that I can get it across. When there's two instances in that movie that just still disturb me to this day, watching it on VHS.
Oh, I know
as
one
a
of
kid,
them.
as a kid with my grandparents.
Yep.
You probably know both of them. Let's see if
Okay.
it's what you get. When he throws up on the donut,
Yep. Yeah.
and it just comes out of nowhere. It's already gross, and then he just does that. When he throws that, legit, everybody it cleared the room. back, like everybody, because back in the day when The Fly was out on tape, everybody, you rented The Fly, everybody get in the room to watch it. You can't watch it on your phone.
Yeah.
Right.
But like, that cleared the room. They're like, nope, this is too gross.
Yeah, I remember being floored, like
Yeah.
absolutely floored.
And the second moment,
Yeah.
just say it.
Over the top arm wrestling.
Oh, that's another one.
Oh, not the arm wrestling?
No, I'm talking about the maggot birth.
Oh, yeah, the maggot burst was
Oh,
gnarly.
yeah.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
by then we were already on almost close to the bottom of the water slide.
Yeah.
But that was still at the beginning. That when he did the over the top and that arm broke, you never were able. And by then, he already started getting the weird acne, and he already had a very grimy look. But that arm snapping, there's something about seeing the bones. It looked way too realistic, and it definitely got you like, ooh, like everybody winced in the theater.
Yeah.
I did see
One
this in
thing
theaters.
about the donut vomit is Gina Davis didn't know that he was going to even do that. So when it happens, she's, in real life surprised to see that and is actually disgusted by it.
Yeah.
It was
Hats
pretty
off
awesome.
to Gina Davis. Like, her performance in this, like you said, was really good. Like, it went she went on a journey with somebody that, when you love somebody and you're going to go as far as you can, and then sometimes they're going to go so far that you can't join them. And that's the scene when she has to do the shotgun at the end, and when she was like bawling, like legit bawling, that she knew she had to do it, but she had no choice. Like, yeah, she was great in this film. And I don't think she gets enough credit. I do not think she gets enough credit. There's probably a lot of people that know the quote, be afraid, be very afraid, not knowing that she gave birth to that quote. So that is a Gina Davis.
And that, to me, is like, that's a remake done perfectly, because I like the original Fly. I remember when the original Fly used to be on Saturday afternoon TV. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And it's basically the same storyline, but they just swap heads. Him and the Fly just swap heads. And that's all that goes down, But like, Cronenberg took that concept and I don't know, just ran with it. and turned it into something. There's more when he vomits on the guy's hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Love it.
forgot about
Oh my god! All right, yeah. There's a lot. It's perfect. It's a lot going on in the movie though.
I remember seeing this with my mom, and she's like, "This is nothing like the original Fly." And I was like, this is nothing like the original Fly.
Yeah.
And of course, Stathis, after getting vomited on his hand and his foot in The Fly 2 that I finally actually just saw recently. I hadn't seen it before up until a couple months ago, and he's still an asshole. He's the same character. He didn't learn, he didn't grow, and he's still an antagonistic type in part 2. And it's just funny seeing him with this little glove, but it would be more of it wouldn't be like how they had it. They should have done better to make it look like he had the injury, but it just looked like he was wearing a glove.
Thoughts on Fly 2? I enjoyed The Fly 2.
Was that Eric Stoltz?
I like it. It's Eric Stoltz as Brendel
right?
Fly, yeah. I liked it. I like the whole dog storyline. It's like if you go back on YouTube, some of the original ads for Fly 2, they're pretty good. They really they spun it in a more sort of like I don't know, hype up the audience kind of
Marlene type way.
Yeah. But that dog, that was, oh man. And then the way spoilers for The Fly 2, if you haven't seen it since 86 or whatever, it's like the guy ends up in the same spot as the dog. It's actually Fly 2 is perfect. Get the box set.
I love that movie.
Get the box set.
I liked how you went on a journey there. It's like, yeah, go buy it immediately. We need those affiliate links at the
Eric
bottom.
Stoltz and Daphne Zuniga. I mean, how 80s?
Daphne Zuniga.
Yeah.
From Spaceballs, right?
From Spaceballs and lots of other films. And I think Melrose Place.
Melrose Place, but we wouldn't know that. Awesome. Good pick, man. You guys raising the bar. I'm really nervous about my picks now. All right. I'm going to go right around the same time period. We're going to be, I noticed we're like 86 through 90. I'm going to go with one-way love, dysfunctional love, and love that is not necessarily returned with Misery. Kathy Bates in Misery.
Okay.
This isn't technically the only one that considers this a love story is Kathy Bates. The Kathy Bates character is the only one this is a legit love story for.
100%.
This movie.
What does she love though?
She loves him, because I don't even think it becomes control at this point. Like maybe along the way she loves, and we find that about in love a lot, right? Like you love the thought of something rather than the actual something. And I think that's when it kind of clicked for her. But again, it was a William Goldman screenplay directed by Rob Reiner based on a Stephen King story. I mean, and you got Jimmy Caan in there. I mean, come on, that's got everything. And this is where the world was introduced to Miss Rudy Patootie. Kathy Bates.
Wait, what's Rudy Patootie?
I don't know. That's one of her nicknames, like you Rudy Patootie. Like,
she refused to curse.
Yeah, she wouldn't curse.
Did you read the book?
No, I did not read the book.
I never read the book. But I always wondered if that was in the book, the refusal to curse.
I don't know.
Because that's terrifying. Ty West should steal that.
It does give you, it's a little bit more settling because that means if you have that much control and yet you're still willing to do what you do to get what you want, that's terrifying. And this had a scene very much so like the arm wrestling scene, right? It's right there in the picture. That ankle scene with the hammer was another thing that made everybody turn, wince, run. Just, it really got to people.
That's a trailer moment.
Yeah, that was a trailer moment.
I'm just gonna book it real quick. I'm gonna book a sequel real quick, a reboot
of Misery.
Misery reboot with Mia Goth, directed by Ty West. What do you think?
Oh, I love that.
Can you call A24?
Wow, yeah, she would be really good for it. Just
an idea. Get me.
You want a young Annie?
Yeah, why not?
You want a young Annie this time around?
Young Annie.
Okay.
I
kind of liked her being older and having just killed her husband and going through all that trauma, because that was kind of her escape those books. That's what she was loving from afar, was the stories. Yeah, she didn't love him. She thought she loved him because he wrote the stories. But like most of our crushes, we might like the way that they look or dress or what would see from afar or what they do as an example, writing. But once we get to know them, we're like, you're not so hot, or I'll just keep liking this aspect of you and I'll keep that over there, and we'll just have this instead. So yeah, those books were her other world, her other life, and she needed out of her current life because her husband was just so abusive. He was a dick, and she thought maybe for some reason, like, you think you might meet your favorite rapper or movie star and you will get married and have all these babies, and this was her chance to do that, and lo and behold, she just snapped. She was probably always crazy because she killed her husband. Not to say that every person who kills somebody is crazy, but she probably snapped a long time ago, but maybe had a second or even third break and, snapped with him and just kind of was at least maybe somewhat disassociative. Like, I hope, she at least had. Anyways, just not to go into mental health and stuff, but yeah, it was just super sad.
People tune in for the mental
so I think
health
for these
advice.
older works, but yeah, being younger, being young too, I think would work because young people just don't have a care in the world and they're invincible. They've probably been doing things here and there, been getting away with things, and so that would also be a fun story. Somebody who feels like they have nothing to lose, because those people are definitely very dangerous.
I think what's pulling me in that direction is I'm looking at this image of Kathy Bates with the mallet here, and I'm picturing Mia Goth by way of Pearl.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you just put her face right there because you've seen that recently. That same position, that same pose.
Maybe that's what's pulling me in that direction, but I don't know. Also, I'm a big mark for
And
Ty
we
West.
love her. She's great.
Yeah, she's fantastic. So.
I mean, I
Can't wait for Maxine.
Oh, Maxine, I cannot wait for that.
Yeah, that's day one.
And
that's
I really dig what Ty West did with that whole trilogy, and just pitching it as a trilogy right off the bat. And he knew already that the cycle is always movie, then prequel, and then sequel to the prequel.
And then you got to go back and watch it, right?
Yeah.
And then you get to pick the order. Like you said, you recommended going back and watching X after just watching Pearl to get the full effect, even though you already saw X.
But I said watch Pearl, then X, then watch Pearl again.
Yeah.
As the sequence of
there
events.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm excited. Is Maxine, is that April? Is it coming up soon?
I don't know.
Very soon. Very soon.
I'm very excited about
I don't
that.
have my new release calendar up, but yeah, I know it's very soon.
Oh yeah. Do you have one that you post on your page? Like a new release?
I don't
You
actually. I
should.
should, huh?
Yeah.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah, that would be. I'd be all about rainbow recommendations. Go check that
okay.
out. Yeah, and then put what you're looking forward to, because again, that's how we find out a lot of these pitches that I would have never.
Okay.
There's so many movies. I was talking to Mario about this once before. We used to be able to watch every single movie. We listened to the video archives and like you watched every tape. Like you had everything. Now I feel like it's impossible to keep up with
Impossible.
It's so
There's no
hard.
way.
And we get the benefit, like you were talking about Spring earlier, like you get to rewatch it again and again. That's all we used to do. That was the internet before. You just rewatch movies over and over again.
Right. You had like a certain amount of tapes, and you had some movies that were recorded on super long speed. You have 3 movies in a row. You had those tapes.
Yeah.
And that was your streaming.
Man,
And so with that, like you have to kind of pick and choose what movies you are going to rewatch. You're like, is this movie worth a second, third, and fourth watch, or should I watch this other movie first that I've been wanting to watch? And so it's crazy when you do find yourself watching a movie 3 and 4 times before watching your other films that you've had on your list for a while. And you're just like, wow, I really love this film. I must talk about it. I've watched it this many times. I have to talk about it.
Yeah,
So,
that's our modern day movie, Sophie's Choice. Of just like, do we watch a movie we've been meaning to watch and we haven't seen yet?
Yeah.
Or do we watch something like, I'm going to do a quick pitch. There's a little bit of swerve. Here it is right here. This was almost going to be on our list, but we couldn't do it.
Put it on the close-up cam.
Talk about a love story. Is it? You see it there?
There it is.
Bones and all. I've been
Yeah.
dying to see that. And it's just talk about love and horror This is like has to be, and this is shout out to Alamo Drafthouse for these Polaroids here. But again, this was you watch a movie you haven't seen before, you go back and watch the tried and true, and that is the choice. And I guess it just depends on the day.
I've been trying to watch Bones and All for days now.
Yeah, I'm dying to see it. I'm still going to watch it.
Nice.
Did you see it?
Do it. I did see it at the theater.
Oh, in the theaters. What'd you think?
Yeah. It was a good movie. It was fun. You know, I didn't absolutely love it because I felt like there was some things being held back. But other folks wouldn't have any issue with that because, you know, so many people are loving it. But for me, it was called, well, I don't want to give it away because you guys are still going to watch it.
Yeah,
but, you know, it was called Bones and All. And it just didn't kind of like live up to that. Like they talk about it with words, but you don't see bones and all. And it is more focused on love, and that's fine. Again, I love horror and I love love, but her like there it just kind of went back and forth in a weird way, and there was not enough fight and there was not enough reasoning, I guess, but they still had good chemistry. They had, you know, a reasonably good amount of chemistry with each other. I believed it, but it was just me saying, well, that was too easy, and sometimes why a little too much.
That's fair.
You know, it was a fun cannibalistic love story. So I want to see more. I'm down to see part 2. I would give it like a 3.5. I forgot exactly what I gave it. Because it is a good movie, but I just feel like it didn't push it far enough, especially with, I believe it's Guadagnino, right, who did that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Who did Suspiria,
which he blew the doors off Suspiria. I love the original Suspiria. And I was going to bring this up actually because I saw this on your page. So you went to the Suspiria concert, didn't you?
Yeah.
We caught it here
awesome.
We caught it here in Austin as well. We went and saw it at the Paramount.
Cool.
What a great, like, the original Suspiria is great. It's its own kind of thing, but the new one just I don't know. It's like the antithesis of a remake, whereas it has absolutely it does not even try to do the original at all,
but still shows it so much respect at the same time.
Right,
like both of those things, 100%. You know,
and
I love that.
The end. Did you see it, Jeff?
No, but go for it. Go for it.
The end is so insane. The
it.
movie itself is pretty insane, but it's really sort of like stylized and slow paced, and it builds. And in the end, it goes so hardcore. I mean, remember we talked about people people watching the Evil Dead trailer will need an ambulance.
Oh yes,
it's that kind of a thing. Like it is just, and it goes on for. It's long. The ending scene is long.
It just keeps going.
And it just goes on and on. And I don't know how to describe it to you. Naked old people and hearts being ripped out.
Very close to hell. Very close. Like it's almost sweet in a way when she's walking up to them and she's asking them what they want, and it's almost like, oh, that's so lovely. At the same time, this horrific thing is going down. It's just crazy. It's crazy.
That's cool. I definitely
love it.
There it is. There's another one that's like on the list of like I need to see it, and it's just slipped through the cracks.
Yeah.
All right. You want to do one more before we take a quick drink break?
No, I think what does that put it? Wait, hold on. What number? Oh yeah, I'll do one more and then
we'll
take
yours, and then we'll take our drink break.
So this one I feel kind of relates to Bones and All a little bit that we're taking. I feel like this is a similar vibe, but the movie that I think it is my second choice for love and horror is Near Dark.
What?
Near Dark?
No, I love Near Dark, but again, you're just caught me off guard.
Near Dark is what is it? Catherine Bigelow, who is the one like this is like Catherine Bigelow. I mean, she's got a good resume. She did she did that Iraq movie.
Oh yeah,
and then she did. I'm not sure what else. Did she do Point Break?
She may have done Point Break. Yep.
Anyway, Near Dark is like I'm not. I feel like the whole thing is a metaphor for like addiction. You know, you've got this band of traveling vampires who are addicted to human blood, obviously, as the vampires are, and they've got the young lady, I forgot the character's name, but anyway, she pulls in this young gentleman into her crew, gets him involved in the whole vampire subculture, right? And is pulling him in. They've got a romance going. You've got a romance between your two older vampires, which is Lance Hendrickson,
Yes.
and what is for the one from, she's from, I forgot her, I'm blanking on her name. She's in Aliens, the one with the giant gun.
Oh,
Sigourney.
Not Sigourney. You know who I'm talking about, Jeff.
yes.
She was just at Cult Classics convention.
Yes, that's right.
Anyway, you've got them. They're sort of like the paternal figures in the vampire group. Their mom and dad. You've got the young teens over here who are in love. Then they've got the younger son who is like trapped in the vampire's body, and he's desperate to just find somebody to be his pal. And he kind of falls for a little girl at the vending machine. I don't know. I think this movie has a lot of emotion. You've got the dad who ends up saving his son through a blood transfusion, literally bleeding for someone to save their life. I think there's a lot going on in this movie.
Yeah, no, there is. It's just when you said that, for me, like Near Dark always kind of lived in that 3 from Hell kind of world, because I grew up, going to the video store, that box with Bill Paxton's face half burned was the box that always kind of stuck in my brain, right? So I never really looked at the all the emotional around it. But again, we're talking about love and horror being entanglements. Dracula, obviously, he's always had that, right? He always used a form of seduction. Vampires became were sexy for a long time, right? Until
Are you saying they're not sexy anymore?
Well, I think From Dusk Till Dawn was trying to get away from that. Even though his name was Sex Machine, I don't think anyone wanted to have sex with him. But we came a long way from the seduction to the sparkling vampires to almost like the grotesque feel of like, yeah, they're just kind of like human mosquitoes. But yeah, I don't know. Rainbow, did you see Near Dark?
I actually haven't seen
You
this
have
one.
Near Dark. It's highly recommended. I think you should put that on your list for sure.
I definitely will.
Yeah, so let me give you the quick.
I did.
It's a vibe.
It's a 1987 American neo-western horror film, co-written and directed by
Neo-Western.
Catherine Bigelow in her solo directorial debut, and it had obviously Bill Paxton. Shout out to Lan Hendrickson, to my brother's wife Danielle. That's her uncle, so I got some connection there. The plot follows a young man in a small Oklahoma town who becomes involved with a family of nomadic American vampires. Even though it did not do great in the box office at the time, of course it became a classic.
And the vampires are so low rent. They're just literally, they're like transients. They're living in their car, lining their car's windows with aluminum foil just to stay alive during the day. Roaming from town to town, robbing people, eating people. And it's got a killer soundtrack from Tangerine Dream.
Yes, great soundtrack. And if Bill Paxton's character in True Lies became a vampire, that would be him anyway.
Yeah.
So he just did a version of himself, and he was a vibe then too, right? Because this is coming off a little bit off. Even though he did this first, Aliens and Weird Science, Near Dark, all kind of lived in that same time period.
Yeah.
So good pick. All right, I think it's time for we want to take a quick break, and then we'll come back for another takeover segment.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, word. BRB.
Want a beer? Mm-hmm. This is really an interesting six-pack. See how it's completely covered? See the ends? Covered. Mm-hmm. That's so light won't get in. Light can spoil beer. And this is good beer. So they don't want light messing around with it.
Well, in that case, why don't we turn off the lights?
Where are you going? To get a Stroh's. That's about a 200-mile hike through heavy snow. I know. If you think of it, get two.
From one beer lover to another's rose.
I don't know what to do. What would you do if you were me? America's got this beer. It's called Stroh's Light, and it's fire brewed. You know, it's not like any other beer. So I called the State Department and say, let's make a trade. Our cigars for your Stroh's Light. They say, Fidel, you're going to have to forget about it.
It's not the same as other lights. It's fire-brewed Stroh's Light.
We're only 90 miles away. We can't even get a decent beer.
All right, coming back. Show back.
What's up, Anthony? That's right. Fidel can't
Anthony's here. All right, what's up, dude?
Beer. Yeah, we definitely are, Rainbow. We're trying to lure that Stroh's money our way. We've gotten them over. We made JJ a fan. We're gonna win people over one Stroh's at a time. All right, it's time for a drink break. But since this is not House Show Live, this is Fright Show Live, doing something a little different here. And Rainbow, we will let you introduce what this is going to be. It is not going to be weird beer. It is
weird wine. So we are all drinking a special little bottle of wine today. I just thought the title Mom Juice, or the name Mom Juice, was hilarious. But I started reading the back and I'm like, okay, it's for moms, so it's less weird, but like just sitting on the shelf and seeing Mom Juice, that's pretty fucking weird.
We're just
but
happy.
It's like, yeah, it's talking about your kids and wearing a cape and all this and getting the best of all worlds. And I'm like,
Mom, what are you drinking? I'm drinking the Mom Juice.
Yeah.
This is Mommy
And I read
juice.
reviews that are like, oh, it's so beautiful as a gift. You can just put it on your shelf and it's lovely. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, just drink that shit.
Mom Juice
I'm not
should
going to keep that on the shelf.
Mom Juice should come in a juice box.
Yeah.
With a straw.
There you go.
How about that? Pack that. I'm
I
all
used
about.
to drink so many wine boxes and I hit a wall. I was like, oh, I can't do it no more. It just makes me completely sick almost as soon as I start drinking it. And then, yeah, it's bottles only now.
Bottles only. That makes sense. From the makers of Daddy Soda comes Mom Juice.
Daddy Soda sounds terrible.
That's Daddy Soda. Yes, but yeah, JJ says thank you for bringing the class.
That's like the bad guy in a blaxploitation movie.
Oh no, it's Daddy Soda.
Mom Juice. But if Mom Juice is watching, and I think we tagged him in this, consider putting these into juice box.
Yes.
Form, I'm all about alcohols that you can have at lunch.
Yeah, I'll do the small little boxes if those are around.
Just
Those
with like a Capri Sun pouch.
Yeah,
with a
Capri
straw
Sun.
that you puncture.
Yeah,
Mom
exactly.
Juice.
It's just like, oh no, don't drink that one. That is not grape.
All right, Jeff, show the one we're drinking.
Yeah, so we decided, since Rainbow classed up the joint, right? She made Fright Show Live a little classy. We thought we got to do this too, but we got to keep a little bit of our flavor. And we're just coming hot off a month-long Rap Snacks edition. So today's weird wine is going to be rap wine. That's right. Faux shizzle. We got the 19 Crimes by Snoop Dogg. It's a Cabby Red.
You always think of Cabernet when you think of Snoop Dogg.
Cabby Red, what's up? So yeah, it's packing in here. So
I mean, that's shoot wine.
that is like shoot wine. And
It's
I don't know where he has a vineyard, or did he just got a label?
Pretty sure he's just white labeling some
I'm
shit.
pretty
I don't
sure
know.
Snoop Dogg grows these in his backyard and then stomps them with his own feet.
Have you put your phone to the picture yet to see if it does any kind of animation?
Oh no, I have not done that.
Is that a
I
thing?
think they might still do that. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
these 19 crimes, they like tell like a story or some shit.
Oh,
man.
Well, I'm gonna definitely have to do that. I just feel like he was kind of the Seidler in Dave Chappelle's movie debut, where he was the guy that kind of popped up, right? Wasn't it? No, it was Willie Nelson. But I feel like Snoop is everywhere. Like Snoop
Yeah,
was
he's like the Martha Stewart.
He
now
is
of
like he's
other
legit
things.
hangs out with Martha Stewart, and like
Yep.
like
yep.
during the Pro Bowl, like Snoop Dogg is like running around the football field. Like, what is Snoop Dogg doing there?
He's an
Learning
icon.
from each other.
He's a wine. He's a potato chip. He's an album. He's everything.
I mean, I think legit, you would have lost this on your bingo card that if he's not an American treasure, I don't know who is. So yeah, I'm gonna make a feeble attempt to try to open this here. So with
Feeble, you got it.
I think I got it.
Oh, you
We'll
got
see.
one of those easy ones. You definitely got it. You'll be
Maybe
all right.
we'll see.
Push while you twist. So it's there you go.
There, all right. So talk
Yeah.
amongst yourselves while.
I've got some wine opening music. Here we go. Over here. Is it?
Oh yeah, there we go.
Oh wait, that's the wrong one.
Oh wait, we have to start up.
Yeah,
right?
there you go. That way. You probably want to screw it down some more, so you have a lot of cork.
Ah,
No,
there
pull
we
the things down more. Pull
Like
the
that?
no. Nope, the other way.
This way?
The other way. Yeah.
Oh, right there.
Go
Okay.
down all the way. Go down all the way.
Oh,
and then
okay.
keep twisting. Keep
Ah,
twisting.
okay.
Just keep twisting so it's like further down.
Let the things come up as you twist. The little side things.
Oh, that's what they do?
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're like
Sorry.
wings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On
and then
the
once they come
wings
up all the
of
way.
one. Okay,
And
there
then
we
as
go.
you lower those
Now.
things, there you go.
Now you're good. Now stop.
Right here?
Yep.
then-
And then slow. Nice and slow.
I'm so glad you talked me through this because that would have been rough.
There you go.
All right. Does it like pop?
Yeah.
No, you just pull it out.
Nope. Just pull it. There you go. Keep pulling.
Doggy dog. All right. Thank you. All right. Not bad. Proof. All right. So we will be coming up with a 10-hour stream of me just opening wine.
Wait, put it on the
Oh, yeah,
close-up
let's do
cam.
it. All right. Ready?
People will watch that. I promise.
Yes. There we go. Do you still do it like a beer pour, like a sidewall?
No, I think there's no.
Just turn
bubbles.
the bottle so it doesn't drip too much when
Got
you
it.
pick it up.
I'm definitely doing a Chief Brody pour. Yeah, you might want to let that breathe. Just pouring it into a milk glass.
And he just pours his scotch on top of it.
With like a floater. All right.
Nice.
There we go.
Nice
Good
and
pour.
dark.
All right. I'm going to slip into intern mode and I'm going to bring you your Snoop Dogg wine and then we're going to figure out how to scan this thing.
All right, let's do that.
Come.
Rainbow, what is your wine preference?
I like cabs mostly.
Oh, you like cab? Too
and
bad
I-
we can't get you the Snoop Dogg cab.
I'm sure he has, I'm sure, all the wines. I haven't seen, I guess, a bottle of a white wine from 19 Crimes, but I've seen all the reds. But yeah, I like blends. This is a blend. One of my favorite blends is Troublemaker. But typically I go for cabs. I like Smith and Hook. Josh has been pretty good lately. But yeah, reds, typically reds. So I like less sweets. Like I'll do some like ports and a rosé if I'm feeling fruity. But typically just dark, dry, sometimes fruity reds.
I'm not a big red wine drinker, so I'm shocked that I'm drinking Snoop Dogg red wine. Let's give it the. This is how they do it down in wine country. You're supposed to smell it first, I think.
Yeah.
What are we looking for in the smell?
The spinaroonie.
Whatever you smell is what you smell. You know, people will smell different things, but whatever, you're just looking for things that you like or don't like. You know, a lot of your tastes, 80% of your taste comes from your scent. So you're just trying to get the feel of the wine, and then when you taste it, you're trying to see if you like that profile, that flavor profile. So there could be smoky, fruity, sweet flavors, bitter flavors, coffee flavors. So you're just trying to see what comes out of you, you know.
So what you're saying is we need to open up a horror-themed vineyard and have you as our hostess.
There you go. Okay.
Right?
I like that. Let's do that.
So we just get some horror-flavored wine.
All right,
I am
great.
so
All right.
down for a horror vineyard.
What
too.
fruits we got in this wine? Does it say on the bottle? Where can you just guess with your palate?
Grapes, Bob. I definitely are getting
yes,
grapes.
if it's a cab, it was definitely a Cabernet grape.
Yeah, so we definitely got the cabs. It's packing
Mine
some
has
heat.
dark cherry. Yeah. Mine has dark cherry, baking spices, and plum.
Oh, wow. That's, I guess, yeah, plum wine would be good. Oh, here, let me get the backstory. 19 Crimes tells the true story of rule breakers who beat the odds, overcame adversity, and went on to become folk heroes in their society. This spirit lives on today through innovators and cultural creators like Cali's own Snoop Dogg. A leader in contemporary pop culture, Snoop embodies the timeless values of 19 Crimes rogues who came before him. To learn more about this, you can go to 19crimes.com. It's a red wine composition, origin Cali, and it's 14% alcohol volume.
Woo.
Bam.
That's a good.
All right, now we got to taste it. We spun it. We did the spinneroonie. We did the sniff. So let's do a toast. Thank you.
Good job.
Rainbow,
Are you going to give it
Fright
one of
Show
those
Live.
Brock Lesnar tastes, or are you going to go
Just guzzle it?
pretend it's a spoonful of spice?
Take a little sip first. Like, don't take a gulp. Just put a little tiny bit on your tongue, swish
Okay.
it around, and then swallow it, and then take a drink after that.
All right, cool. Let's give that a whirl. Cheers. Here we go.
And then now you can see.
Oh, yeah,
what
that did
stays
bring
there
out
and
some.
what- Yeah.
Wow.
So it's less smoky. It smelled smokier than it tastes when you did that. When you swished it around, the smoke went away. Smoke Dog made the smoke go away? How'd that happen?
Right? He is Smoke Dog.
All right.
I mean, if you're going to drink a wine, why not drink a Snoop Dogg wine? Like, I feel like I don't know. It's familiar. It's classy.
I do feel like I taste
Classy.
classy, man.
Let's get that bottle in the close-up
Yeah,
shot
let's
again.
put that in there one more time. But it's really good. It's way again, Rainbow, like you were saying, a lot of the reds, the dark reds, they really do have a smoky, like you taste, almost like
Yeah.
have that punch aftertaste. Where this one is way sweeter than I expected, and I was actually just in the Pacific Northwest, and there's something about the berries there are sweeter than anywhere else in the country. I don't know if you know that or not, if that's factual, or if I just pulled that. Maybe that's what the guy at the vineyard told me. But the berries are...
They, I'm sure, are sweet, but I also know, like, the West Coast is also known for a more bold flavor versus the East Coast. But, yeah, it's still definitely sweet. Is that what kind of red is that? Is that a cab, or is it a blend, or
It
what
looks
kind
like
is
it's
that?
a cab.
Cab, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, those are, usually a little drier, but if it's sweet, that's not a bad thing. There are some sweet notes in a cab.
It's definitely
I've
not
got
a
some
sweet-
Dr. Dre cheese in the fridge if you're into that.
Oh my god. I'm down to try that though.
That's the perfect collab.
He looks like he know how to eat.
So Rainbow, you knew way more about wine than I even expected. So I was like, I feel very floored. Not that we know a lot about the beer either. We were just kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then we just talk about other things.
I mean, the entire premise is that we are not alcohol connoisseurs at all.
Well, I also used to do back in the day, like way back in the day, I also did like beer, liquor, and wine promotions. And so I kind of like found my taste of what I liked. And it took me a long time to like wine. But once I started to like wine, it's just easy to just know more about it because you want to make sure you're picking the right thing. Because it's really easy to pick a shit wine and then be unhappy and forcing a $10 glass of wine down your throat. You want to know what you're ordering on the menu, so
That's awesome that you did that again. And
it's good.
They were very lucky to have you because again, what caught our eye about you is you feel like, obviously your vibe, your brand, everything that you do, you put your stamp on there. So I would totally trust you with my alcoholic taste.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Steer us in the right direction. So they were lucky to they had no idea what they had with you. And now I feel like,
it was a fun time.
Do I chug this?
No, you can if you're able to. Some people can't physically, but if you're able to.
Like, what is it? Does it the body reject it like trying to drink a gallon of milk? It's just like no.
You'll be transported to Long Beach, California.
It's like if you were to take like 4 shots. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's packing
It's a
some
lot.
heat. It's
All
packing
right, I
some
think we
heat,
should
too.
just sip on this.
Yeah, I'm gonna sip it.
through it. Take small drinks, and all of a sudden it's gone. It's like, woo, we're best friends now.
Because you did pour like 2 glasses to be
that was a heavy
honest
pour.
with you, because
That was
you
like
didn't like pour like a glass. It was like, oh, okay, it's almost half the bottle.
That was a
Yeah, the bottle is almost gone.
that was a Blues Brothers pour. It's like, wrong glass, sir.
It's all right though. That's how you should be pouring. That's why the glasses are so big.
All right, so we've got 3 more here.
We got 3 more.
Last cycle. Rainbow, you started off. So what is your 3rd pick for this season of Love and Horror?
One of my favorite horror movies of all time, and that would be 1992's Candyman. This is a beautiful, gothic romance, even though at first glance, or first watch, you wouldn't hear like love connection at the end. Most of the movie is about urban legends and a boogeyman that's killing you, in specific circumstances, almost like a Freddy Krueger who is preying and feeding off of your belief and fear of him, because otherwise he becomes weaker. And with Candyman, if he feels or senses that folks aren't believing in him, he's going to come back and check you and put you back in place and let you know that he is in fact real. And it's because of his backstory, which kind of is revealed more in the second film, which is not anywhere near as good as the first film. But let's see. So yeah, it's we have this urban legend being researched by Helen, who is in college researching this topic, and she just so happens to look like his past love. So in her research and finding out about the Candyman at the end, she finds this painting of his past love, and she sees the resemblance. And I'm trying not to reference the second film, because you really do not have to watch the second film to be fulfilled after watching Candyman. But if you do, it's just kind of satisfactory, because you're getting more, even though it's not as good. But this backstory just is awesome. But even without the films, again, on its own, this story is just so sad, because he's been killed in a tragic way, and he's just yearning for his love. He died in the name of love, essentially, and he sees this woman as the reincarnate of his love. And he's had all these opportunities to kill her, and he never does. But it's also because at the same time, she's kind of the tool and the key to making sure that people do believe in him, because she's kind of going around Cabrini Green, kind of putting out there that he's not real. And so you have some of the gangsters around town trying to prove her wrong, acting as Candyman. They do this even with other folks aside from her, but really trying to make the point to her that this is a legit thing. Stop coming around here, white woman, trying to, fuck up our history and all that. But yeah, so it's interesting. We have this urban legend and this, story of, poverty and mostly urban legend and all that and that little package. And then we also have this love story kind of going on in the background, but less so in the background, but more toward the end. And you just kind of understand more where Daniel Robitaille is coming from. And of course, we don't learn that his name is Daniel until part 2. But yeah, this is just a lovely, lovely, tragic, gothic love story again.
And when you say sequels...
What's up, Lee?
Lee, what's up, man? When you say sequels, so I saw there's 2 direct sequels. I remember Farewell to the Flesh. Then there was another one, Day of the Dead. And then there was the direct sequel that just came out in 2021. Which one are you for? Like, which one gives the more of the backstory?
The first of the 3.
Oh, the Farewell to the Flesh.
Farewell to the Flesh,
okay.
yes.
What a great title, though.
Yeah.
Farewell to the Flesh. And yeah, you love anything, right? Yeah. I remember Bloody Mary, so then when you saw this, you're like, oh, say Candyman in the Mirror 5 times.
Yes.
So good. I mean, that's...
So every sleepover, I would be like,
yes.
with my girlfriends, Bloody Mary, Candyman, Light as a
Feather, Stiff as a Board.
All that. And then after we did all that and we were all tired and sugared up, we'd watch our movies. After telling stories and stuff, we'd watch our scary movies. So, yeah, it was fun. Like, even at school, like, we had... kids are stupid. And so we were just doing all kinds of shit in the bathrooms too, just at school. People just saying Bloody Marys and like literally seeing things and running out of bathrooms. Like I remember, in elementary school, like literally 7, 8 years old, like at least 10 of us just doing that and just acting crazy, being scared and just having a good time with it.
I mean, I think Tony Todd is obviously, he's a horror icon. So booking him in this role was masterful booking for sure.
And you said you weren't a fan of the sequel boot.
I didn't hate it or anything. Like I'll watch it and I gladly sit and watch those 3 films back to back because they're all fun, but it just definitely didn't live up to the first film in any way whatsoever. And yeah, it just felt different. But it's still good. It's still a good movie.
I watched that on the plane, and I don't know if that took away from the vibe when I watched the. Was it because it wasn't a remake, right? It was a sequel boot.
Are you talking about Farewell, or are you talking about Nia DaCosta?
The 2021 version that was just called Candyman.
Yeah, it was a sequel boot.
Oh, sorry. I was responding to Farewell to the Flesh, but yeah, I guess I have the same response to Nia DaCosta's film. That yeah, I just expected it to be a different kind of remake. It was a spiritual remake apparently, and I just wasn't expecting that. I wanted it to be more either like Suspiria, which is just a thing all on its own, just a remake with all the heart of the original but something completely different, or I wanted it to be like The Crazies or what's the other one, The Hills Have Eyes, which are basically like exact replicas but just in that time, in that era of like the technology where it could be amped up and just a little bit of story is changed because of that, but it's still the exact same film, just on steroids and just awesome.
Yeah. And
the new Candyman from, 2021 or whenever it was, is just a completely different film. They really should have brought back, Tony Todd's voice is like, it's like saying, oh, bring back another James Earl Jones or whatever. But
Agreed.
They really needed to do a voice thing, I think, because that was much of the appeal. It was just so haunting. Like that's the thing that's not been able to be replicated since the first film with these 3 other films, is that it was just so haunting and captivating and it was a beautiful movie, and I do want to see what she would do with the second film, or what the producers and Peele would do with a second Candyman film. Like, I'll be first in line. And I still need to see it a second time because I'm sure I'll like it more a second time. But I was just not completely, but I was let down at the theater. But I do appreciate the film for what it is, because it was a beautiful film. Well, everything about it was beautiful.
And I'm sure it's tough for you just because you love the first one so much, the original.
Yeah.
So it really, like me being such a mark for Friday the 13th, I get it. When you walked in and you saw that remake in the theaters that was shot right here in Austin, and you just feel very disappointed. And I also did the same thing as you. I didn't go back and watch it. So maybe just because Jordan Peele is great as far as like honoring and keeping a vibe. And I do remember, even though it was on a plane and it's really hard to hear because everything's kind of vibrating, I do feel like the wardrobe is so important in a horror movie. The wardrobe is so important, and I feel like they were creating the right energy. But I wasn't as wrapped up in the original story in that time period, so I need to go back and watch it to see if it does like kind of honor. I should just do a Candyman marathon.
I'd be in for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't mind the remake. I thought it was. Here was the thing with my take on that was, I thought it took a long time to get to what it was trying to be, And I liked what it was trying to be by the end of the movie. You know, everything with the cops and all that stuff, I thought that was great. But it just took too long to get to that. I would have liked to see that be the midpoint and then take it from there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, true.
That would have been my opinion.
The casting was great. I'm a huge mark for Yahya Abdul-Mateen II and Coleman Domingo. I feel like those two guys have potential. I hate Fear the Walking Dead, like the series. Like the first couple seasons, I was literally rooting for the zombies. Remember? And I was so mad. I went to a roller derby match here.
That's because they rejected you as a zombie.
Yeah, that's true too. They did reject me as a zombie. But I remember going.
Yeah, I don't think I went past season 1 of Fear the Walking Dead either.
It was rough. And supposedly it got better, but I never got a chance. But I went to a roller derby match here, and they were filming here, and the whole cast was there. And I was like, ah, man, they just ruined the match. We got to go. I don't know. There was just something about it. But yeah, that being said, Coleman Domingo was the shining star in that. And I see that he's still in the show is still going and he's still in there. But there's just something about the way I can see Yahya Abdul and Coleman Domingo in like something like that sticks with us, like Dawn of the Dead, right? That they could have been in like a 70s horror movies and they would stick in your brain because you just can't take your eyes off of them. So the casting is really important. So to match those two up with Tony Todd, that's what got me. I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a chance.
I was into it.
Yeah.
All right. Jeff, what is you're
ready.
Your final pick.
My final pick
in the love and horror division.
And I already kind of gave a hint of where this was going. And this is the direction I am going with platonic love. And I am going with the icon himself, Jason Voorhees, and the most underrated of the series of Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. Coming hot off of Corey Feldman. And Rainbow, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to give a little bit of spoilers, but this one has something that's very iconic that sticks with a lot of people that they really don't like it. But me, now being a dad, I even appreciate it even more. That the spoiler is that this is not Jason Voorhees. This is not Jason Voorhees. They got Tommy Jarvis, so it is the spiritual sequel that it sticks with it, but it turns out that the killer is somebody pretending to be Jason Voorhees, and his name is Roy.
Oh, Roy.
Oh, Roy's taking it off the grid. So it does lead into, Corey Feldman as Tommy Jarvis. Now he's grown up. Obviously, he's very scarred from everything he went through in the final chapter. So he's sent to a halfway house. This halfway house had this feel of, to me, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, that you had everybody that had their little bit of superpowers. But one of the people that was actually there was somebody who was like a legit psycho, and his name was Vic, which is a perfect 80s scary person, was Vic. And then there was Vic is terrifying.
Vic the ambulance driver.
Not.
Yes. So Vic is, it turns out that, hold on, let me find it here so I don't. Right, so you got the Goth. Oh, and you also have Eddie. We made a meme about this. You got who was Dudley, for you Different Strokes fans out there. That's his iconic scream. Yeah.
That scream is crazy.
Yeah, this is the craziest scream. So you have all these great characters. But anyway, Vic ends up killing one of the other patients at the Wayward house, right, where Tommy Jarvis is staying. And these two paramedics go to pick it up. And you see this paramedic who just kind of makes an unsettling face, and you can't tell, like, oh, why did this paramedic was scooping up? Vic chopped this guy up to pieces with his axe. Next thing you know, Jason comes, starts whacking all these guys at the joint, and then it turns out that paramedic was Roy, and he snapped because he saw his son's remains after Vic just hacked him up with a hatchet. So he became Jason. But to me, I thought it was just like, as a dad, yeah, I'd hack people too, man. I would, like, for 100%, like, if anyone came at my boy, for sure I would go Roy on them.
You already have the outfit.
Yes, that's right. You know, wrestling is remember I was telling you, I used to wrestle in Mexico as Jason the 13th, an unofficial probably get sued these days, but right, it was before the internet. It's only on VHS, so I had the hockey mask, so I actually have it. But so
brilliant
it's
gimmick,
on
Jason
VHS.
Yes, that's right. It's all on VHS. So
Can I just say though, this Jason right here, although this is not my favorite of the series, this is my favorite mask fit.
Yeah,
you know, like the
cheekbones.
Yeah, I preferred the original look where you had just kind of a man under there and not like a zombie bursting out from underneath the straps.
Yes,
you know what I mean? That Kane Hodder look. To me, this is a little more terrifying. Just sort of a dead-eyed dude under there, not an oozing zombie.
And you know that, so go looking at that picture, you know what the tell is the blue eyeliner instead of the red. So Jason's original hockey mask always had red. So I think this was...
damn, that's a deep cut.
Yeah, so they went with the blue because Roy has piercing blue eyes. I don't know if you noticed. Like, look at that handsome bastard. Look at that.
Yeah.
So that's their way of saying that there's piercing blue eyes in here. But, you know, his son, Joey, was special needs. I just remember, like, every time you eat chocolate and you got your fingers, because he was annoying Vic, who for some reason, the craziest guy at the halfway house, they're like, you need to go chop wood. So, of course, they're making him stronger, and he's angry, and he's just cracking this wood, and Joey's, like, asking him all these annoying questions, and he can't take it, and he's got the chocolate, and then he's like, forget it, you're done, and then that's when he hacks him to pieces. So, of course, poor Tommy Jarvis, a grown-up Corey Feldman, is like, I can't believe I can't get away from people getting chopped up.
This is a swerve. I had no idea this had any sort of love elements in it.
Yeah, platonic love, man. It's just like you saw, like if
platonic love.
Platonic love. If you
That's
go
friendship, right?
Yes. I guess this would be fatherly love, right?
Fatherly love.
Oh,
a father
okay. This
of
is
love.
familial
Yeah,
love.
family love. Yeah, a love for father for son.
Okay. Like I thought it was like who is Jason friends with, or is it like a group of friends that are just friends with each other and they are just all getting killed and they're like the tightest knit group of friends? Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
So Roy, when you go back,
yeah,
and you see they do the flashback, and it's like, oh, why did Roy pretend he was Jason? And then you realize that, like, oh, that was his son Joey that was killed here, and he saw his body, and that's when he snapped, and he just used Jason as a ruse, if you will. But this one had a lot of people angry just because it wasn't true Jason Voorhees. It was somebody completely different, and they were decided they were going to try to go in another direction, and just like Halloween and Season of the Witch, they realized it didn't work, and they went back right away. But I think, like Season of the Witch, who has a huge cult following now, if you go back and watch Friday the 13th Part 5, I think it stands up. The kills, the casting, everything about it, other than it's not really Jason, but he works the gimmick the entire time. Like he does the no sales, he does the sit-ups, he does all of it, but it's just he's in a rubber mask. So a lot of people had heat with it. But again, Rainbow, I don't know. You said you've only, like, as far as like Friday the 13th goes, you just went
totally, yeah.
It's new to you, right?
The first one.
Just the first one, right? Okay.
It's not new to me. I've seen the first one, and I feel like I've probably seen one of the other ones, which is probably one of the ones that I've seen first, but I can't really recall it. But I remember definitely seeing the first one. I just recently saw Freddy versus Jason for the first time the other day for my Freddy ranking video, which was super fun.
Yes.
Awesome, but yeah, I could say that I've probably seen 2 Friday the 13th movies, but I've always just loved, the character of Jason, or, in the first film, obviously it's a whole different thing, but, as it's evolved, just the, iconic figure and the idea of him has just always been awesome to me. But to go back to your point of it being familial love and having it be a choice, a pick for you. Valentine's Day is about romantic love too, but it's also a time where parents do show a lot of love for their parent or for their kids rather, because my mom used to always give me Valentine's Day presents, and I feel like parents do that, and the love for a child is so great, and it's one of the only loves that will push you to do the kinds of things like revenge that you would engage in with romantic love. So it totally fits. And yeah, platonic as well as friendships is also that too, because you have things like Crazy White Girl, is that what it is? I'm trying to think of a better example of like
single white female.
Two girlfriends two girlfriends, and one's not into the one girlfriend.
Single
like,
white
it's
female.
almost lesbianic but not all the way. Yeah, single white female.
Single white female,
right?
yeah.
Things like that. So I think those totally count, and had I been in that frame of mind, I probably would have come up with some other stuff too, but that's a really good point.
Yeah, and I'm going to go even deeper. I mean, like right now, part 5, they did a little bit of reversal for, what a father's love for his son. The entire Friday the 13th franchise is based on a mother's love for his son. And then the son spends the rest of the series for the next 12, soon to be 13 films, getting revenge for what they did to his mom. So it is really about a parental relationship with their son. So I think part 5 stays in the vein. They just flipped it to the dad instead of the mom. And that it's going to be really interesting with Peacock, with the Crystal Lake prequel series coming out soon. I really do hope that they start digging deeper into the Pam Voorhees story, because you did watch one of my favorite Friday the 13th is Freddy versus Jason. I was like first showing, first day, like I was there. And coming off of Jason X, which we loved and we just saw in 35 millimeter not too long ago, also a great one. I felt like it was a little bit like brought back because that one was way better than I expected. But then as you rewatch Freddy versus Jason, you do like appreciate how much that character really does mean for just the lore in general.
Here's what I think. If you're gonna do your Friday the 13th marathon, you've already seen part 1, which I think honestly, if I'm honest, I'm not a fan of part 1. I feel like the series didn't get going until part 3.
Fair.
But I would say go ahead and skip part 3 as well. Start with part 4.
The final chapter.
Start with part 4. Then go ahead and jump from part 4 to part 6. And then jump from part 6 to Jason X.
Okay.
And that's how you watch that. Yeah.
Cruise on into Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
Mario has the best machete cuts. Like the only machete cut I ever heard, and ironic we're talking about machetes and Jason. The only machete cut I ever heard before Mario was the Star Wars machete cuts of how to watch him. Then you introduced me to your Evil Dead machete cut. Now you got a Friday the 13th machete cut.
If you've seen one, you can watch one just, whatever, just for the cred. But go ahead from 1, jump right to 4.
Okay.
Then jump to 6, then jump to Jason X, and you'll have a great time.
Yeah, you'll have fun. I don't Mario, if you had to tell her which one you would steer, what would be considered the lowest one of the franchise, what one would it be? Steer her away from.
Unfortunately, it's probably Jason Takes Manhattan, even though it has the best premise of all.
That breaks my heart, but yes, you're right.
I mean, it's just the most disappointing out of all of them.
What if Scream turns out to be the same way? He's headed to New York.
Oh, no!
I think they're going to learn from the mistakes. From those mistakes.
Hopefully.
Because Jason Takes Manhattan has one of the greatest teasers of all time.
Oh, so good.
The best.
Isn't that the one that has the awesome train kill, though? Is that the only good scene in that whole movie?
Yeah, I think it's got a train kill.
It's got some good kills at the end, but
That's the only one.
But it's really only got Jason in Manhattan for about 4.5 minutes.
That's the problem.
And you've got about 90 minutes. 90 minutes takes place on a boat on the way to New York. So it's a big disappointment.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Jason Heads to Manhattan is what they should have called it.
On the way to Manhattan.
I'm getting there.
But yeah, watch 4, 6, and Jason X, and you'll have a great time.
The one I would tell you to steer away from
4, 6, and X.
4, 6, and X.
4,
yes.
6, and X.
That's solid. That is super solid. You would think it would be 9 of the whole Jason Goes to Hell, but I don't think it would be that. I would, when they start introducing Jason might have a sister, but I think the one to steer away from is the remake. Like they did.
The remake is
they did away, and that sucks. They merged part 1 and part 2, and I thought, okay, that would be fine, but they didn't get the heart of the story, which what we're talking about, right? It's a mother's love for the son's love for the mom. They didn't capture any of that. They really just like, let's just get a bunch of teens and, and we'll just kill them. It's like, you just definitely need more than that. One of the best parts of Jason X is when they kind of lean into, come on, you want to go, go smoke weed and go have sex. And like, they were like leaned into like, that's what we're kind of about, but we're not really about that. Where that remake was like, no, we're really about that. And had a great poster. Like, again, first day I was there and I was really bummed out about it. What's up, Will?
What's up, Will? Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
So in your opinion, which is a worse remake, Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th?
They're both pretty bad. They're both really, really bad. You can't really. It's hard to. If you can't remake stuff from the 80s in the modern times, if you're gonna remake a movie from the 80s, you have to set it in the 80s.
Yeah.
You've got to take it back and
Agreed.
make like the direct sequel or whatever you do.
If your name's not Ty West, don't even try.
Yeah.
That's what it really comes up to.
Y'all need to get off of his
he has
fucking
I know.
shit, yo. He ain't all of that.
He has a way of creating that vibe. Like if you said,
definitely creates an 80s
set me
vibe.
something that's in, again, we talked about the 70s is the scariest decade of horror just because the wardrobe and everything of the time, it captured it. But those remakes did a really poor job of capturing that. And that sucks because, I mean, when I heard that Jackie Earle, Kelly Leak from Bad News Bears, Rorschach from Watchmen was going to be Freddy Krueger, and I'm like, okay, they're going for pedigree because it's going to be very difficult to follow Robert Englund, who's still with us.
Yeah.
So like, why would you even try? So I was like, okay, they went for pedigree. You couldn't even tell with it, like everything about it just didn't work. It just felt like an average movie.
Yes, it was a good villain. He was good at being the dark Freddy that they wanted him to be, and it sucks for him because he gives such a great performance, and he just is given so much shit for it. Like it's my least favorite of the franchise, so I'm not trying to defend it or anything like that. I'm trying to defend Homeboy and the idea of what they were trying to do, but the story with Nancy and then just the choices they made with the kids, the quote unquote kids, is I think where they really went wrong. Because just having really fucked up with the story with the kids and how they reacted to things, and I don't know, because they took it back to the darker tones, and that's where Wes was taking it with New Nightmare, because New Nightmare,
solid.
Not similar, but it's in that same world compared to the rest of the franchise, and it's just unfortunate that it went so left. And it's crazy because actually the dude who plays, Earl, his
Jackie Earle Haley,
the new Freddy, yes, he actually auditioned to be Homeboy in Freddy's Revenge, but they ended up going to Mark Patton, the guy who actually, is the star of that movie. And then he comes back years later as the new Freddy. So it's pretty trippy to learn that. I was like, okay.
I did not know that.
Hollywood's a small town.
Yeah.
I think that the note that they got, and this probably, because if you remember, the original Nightmare on Elm Street was meant to be terrifying, and at the time everybody took it as terrifying. Then you had, Freddy's Revenge, and it's just like, okay, it's a little scary. And then everyone's like, that series took off with like Dream Warriors. But then what Dream Warriors also introduced, and Dream Warriors was great, but it introduced one-liner Freddy. And then it all just became like, go back to that gimmick of just like the line before the kill. Freddy was all about, where's the bourbon, bitch? Welcome to prime time, bitch. Like the one-liners. So it almost became like the crowd was cheering for Freddy. Like he became the baby face in the gimmick.
He was the cool heel.
He was the cool heel. So as a horror movie, people started getting away with like, well, that's not scary because that's Freddy. He's my boy. Like people are cheering for him. So I think with Jackie Earle, the approach they were going is they wanted somebody that was actually terrifying again, because in the end he was a child diddler, a chomo that actually got burned alive, which is supposed to be terrifying, not somebody that you're cheering for. So I do appreciate what they were trying to do, but I almost wish they would have went in an angle like Candyman and stuck with Robert Englund somehow and incorporated that. There's a way to do baton passes that is a little bit more graceful than that. Was just too much of a hard cut and people just didn't dig it.
Robert was done though. After he did Freddy versus Jason, he said that was his last time he was putting on that makeup.
Oh.
And he said he's definitely not coming back if they do a remake today or tomorrow or yesterday. But after Freddy versus Jason, he said, like, thank God I'm done with this. Like he legit said, like, I saw the words come out of his mouth. He said, I'm not gonna miss it. Like he was done. He was done.
Well, it's very
they had no choice.
Yeah, I guess that's a bummer, but it's very serendipitous that we're talking about it, because not only do we have your Nightmare on Elm Street video that just dropped, go check that out, but we also dropped one, I don't know if you saw that, with Mike, Mike, you're out there, but Mike had a great angle when we were talking about Skinamarink and how to use Skinamarink. I call it Skinamarink. Somehow I merged Skidmark with Skinamarink and Cinemark, and I made a new word, Skinamark. But anyway, he was just like how to take Skinamarink and use that as a way to introduce the Nightmare on Elm Street series, because in the end, that is about the nightmare. That's what was supposed to be terrifying. And I thought that was this, we just dropped a short on that today, but there's also a long. So it is something that just still, man, what ripe fruit that you just want to keep going back and seeing what other bites we can take from this. And I thought that pitch was really great.
How did we get to Nightmare on Elm Street?
Well, we were talking about Freddy versus Jason. I think they're like, if you think of the Universal monsters, you say Dracula, you're automatically going to say Frankenstein and the Wolfman. And then if you're even Darcy the Mail Girl level, you're talking about the Mummy and the Creature from the Black Lagoon. We talked about here the Mount Rushmore of horror. You got Freddy and Jason and Michael Myers are those three, and I feel like that rotating four. So it's really easy, especially when they made that film, to like start talking about Friday the 13th and we end on Nightmare on Elm Street, but here we are. All right, cool. Mario, you're up. This is our last recommendation for the horror of love.
So here's the thing. I have one, and I also have a runner-up. This was one that we actually, I made the graphic for it, Rainbow, because I thought it was going to be one of yours. But, and it was almost one of mine, but now it's the runner-up.
Yeah, we got to talk about that one.
So
for sure.
I want to talk about my recommendation, and I think Rainbow will recommend this one as well. May by Lucky McKee, starring Angela Bettis, who was used to be based out of Austin here. I don't know where this movie lives. It never streams anywhere. I never see it on any channel. I think it's been on Tubi now and again, but like it's nowhere. And I just think it's great. Angela Bettis, who plays May here, I just think this is one of the most adorable performances ever. Where she sort of has a crush on Jeremy Sisto, and he's like the poser film guy who's way into Dario Argento. And just there's these moments at the beginning where she's trying to run into him on accident. It's just so cute. I don't know. I can't recommend this movie enough. And then
I had no Anna Faris is in this?
Anna Faris is in this as well.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
she is her like Anna Faris self. She is like she's the character is actually. I love House Bunny. But she's like character, and I just love it. It's so good.
I think this is right after Scary Movie. She still had the brunette hair in this one, which I think she switched to blonde pretty early. But
because this is a 2002 joint, right?
Yeah, and you've got our main character, May Kennedy. She works at the vet shop, at the vet store, and like she's just looking for love. She wants to have a boyfriend, and she's obsessed with Jeremy Sisto. Just so much about this movie is just I love the first date where they're sitting in the hollowed out car just eating chips and salsa. There's the whole thing where Jeremy Sisto,
so basic.
Yeah, and Jeremy Sisto plays just like the typical just sort of poser film guy who really wants to, talks about making films but really doesn't do anything, and shows her his like student film, and it's horrible, and just she just thinks it's the best thing ever. I don't know. There's a lot of cute stuff in this movie.
This was a Lionsgate film in 2002, and I don't remember if it didn't even have a theatrical. It had a little bit of a theatrical drop, directed by Lucky McKee.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a guy who goes under the radar a lot. I actually reviewed one of his other films called The Woman, which is severely underrated, that has a sequel called Darling, which is also severely underrated. Both of those are just awesome movies, and it's great seeing him direct or write these stories, because actually in Darling, the star of the first film, The Woman, directs Darling. But yeah, he's just I feel like he's a great visionary, even though it's not like his films are that breathtakingly beautiful or anything. They're just great stories, and they make you feel. Looks like he's also got a show that is currently out called Poker Face with
that's the new Ryan Johnson show. Yeah, he directed the last episode of that.
You guys are I don't maybe this. Ryan Johnson was an editor on May.
Yeah.
I had no idea. It's all coming full circle. I feel like we're getting that Scooby moment. It's all coming together now.
Yeah, Natasha, I can't want to say Leggero, but that's the comedian. Leon, right?
Leon, yeah.
I love the hell out of her because she's recently been doing Russian Doll. And then this latest season, unfortunately, I've not loved it as much as the previous one, but it feels like from the previews that this new show that Lucky McKee is directing is basically Russian Dolls season 2 redone in a better way.
What?
I've never seen Russian Dolls.
Russian Doll was great.
I loved
the first season is just amazing.
Yeah, I've watched all the Poker Faces. It's a great show.
Yeah, you were saying you're
okay.
I really enjoyed Poker Face.
I'm about to watch that real quick.
It is Poker Face is a throwback to older shows. It doesn't have a continuing plot. It's sort of like Murder of the Week kind of a thing.
Okay.
Every episode sort of there's a format to the episodes, which you'll pick it up really quick. It sort of does this thing where it shows you the crime, and then it shows you how Natasha Lyonne, her name's Charlie on the show, how she is connected to the crime. In the second act, and then she solves the crime. And her gimmick is, Mike, it is fucking sick. I said because anyway,
wait, don't say her gimmick though, because all I know is she can tell when people can lie. She knows
that's her gimmick,
how to tell when people. Okay.
That's her gimmick, and that's how
okay.
That's how she solves crimes.
Of course, Mike comes up with the perfect pitch. New Day Murder, She Wrote.
Oh, nice.
Wow. Bam. Just hit it out of the park.
It's a great show. And she's such a great character. She's just kind of whatever. Drinks beer all the time. And she's
I love her so much.
I recommend it. Check it out. It's I appreciate that they're bringing that genre back where we can just watch one episode of the show.
Yeah, we were talking about Freak of the Week.
We don't need to have an ending that teases us to watch the other episodes immediately. I'm good with just watching one. I'll catch another one tomorrow. And I can space them out. It's a good show.
Cool.
But to go back to May, because that is a good movie to talk about. I just love her freakiness, because I feel like a lot of us could probably relate to her, even though we're probably not going to build a friend out of human body parts from several different people. But I do think that we at some point in our lives between 3 and 50 feel like we yearn for this attention from somebody and feel awkward around them. And she just so happens to just have an extra quirkiness about her. And that quirkiness is fine, but she just has that murderous taste too, just because she's been so neglected by, you know, her friends, or she has no friends and been neglected by her family, you know, her mother who was seemingly loving and caring and stuff, but she just basically pawned her off on this doll and was kind of condescending, and you could tell would have given her more love had she been more perfect. But because she's imperfect, she gives her the kind of love and attention that she thinks that she deserves.
Oh,
so
man.
it's sad. It's super, super sad.
I know this was also in Mario's Why Aren't You Watching? And did it stream on Shudder for a little while?
I think it was on Shudder for a little bit.
Because I know it. So the original debut was at Sundance, so I'm not surprised that it definitely always had that vibe. So another one to add to the list. But that was your honorable mention, right?
That's the honorable mention.
That was your honorable mentions, because that was you and Rainbow. You both kind of collided on that, so we had to bring mention to it. So let's do it. What's that final drop of that love and horror?
All right. I feel this is another one that I think folks don't really think is a horror movie, and you might not think it is either, but I think that this is sort of a classic Gothic love story in the vein of Bride of Frankenstein or something like that, or Frankenstein, one of those things. But the movie I picked for love and horror this go around is Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, so good.
Well picked. Good pick.
Is this? I feel like this is a horror movie. It's got comedic undertones, but at its heart, it's a horror movie. It's like they took a horror movie character. In another movie, Edward Scissorhands murders a bunch of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You got Vincent Price in there, of course.
But instead, he's pulled into the suburbs out of that potential horror movie and has this love story with Winona Ryder. And in the end, sort of he becomes the subject of the horror. He's the one who's terrorized by the suburban trolls.
Yes.
Thoughts on Edward Scissorhands?
I 100% agree. I would have never I don't know. I wouldn't have considered it a horror movie, but like you said, now that you're feeling it, I think it's a great pick, because we know the ecstasy of love, but the agony of love is encapsulated with one line when Winona says, "Touch me," and he said, "I can't." That's just like, that just breaks your heart. I was like, that's true horror. Like, if you love it and you can't even touch it. So I'm with you, Rainbow. You with them on this?
100%. Yes, I've been wanting to review this or talk about this on lives, but I've been hesitant because, it's not technically a horror movie, but it totally is, because it is creepy. And I'm all about the dark, creepy, and weird, as you know. And this movie is all of that. It's horrific. And I do feel sorry for him as the victim, even though he's supposed to sort of be the pseudo, villain. It's scary more so because of the suburban folks, and movies like Stepford Housewives and Pleasantville. Like, even though they're not horror movies, they just have this horror element of it where it's like this, Big Brother aspect that I just do not like, and it is super scary, 1984 type feel, and he is up on that hill for a different reason that's also horrific. And so all of it together, even though it's bright and light and funny at times, it is scary and just sad. And I absolutely just love Edward Scissorhands. It's one of my absolute favorite movies.
It's great. And I feel like the Netflix generation has been introduced to Tim Burton's creepy vibe with Wednesday, but he's been doing this from day one. Other than Big Fish, I can't even think of anything that he did that did not have horror elements. Even his versions of Batman had like a very goth, eerie feel to it.
Batman Returns for sure.
Clearly Beetlejuice, right? I mean, he's a demon that you have to summon.
Beetlejuice right here, baby.
That's right. Just don't say it one more time. Nobody says the B word. But With Edward Scissorhands, I thought it was masterful booking. Again, I brought this up earlier, is getting Vincent Price in there to make it really feel like,
to give it that legit horror
Frankenstein love story to it, to the, getting them to chase in there. But of course, it's Tim Burton and Johnny Depp, right? You're going to always have that comedic that you're going to still smile, but in a way that horror has to, like good horror really will make you smile a little bit, right? It's not always going to just be about
some relief.
Yes, it's going to be more of a roller coaster. It's not going to be just a completely dark the entire time. You got to have some kind of ups and downs with it. And yeah, they 100% created that vibe to it. So yeah, that's a masterful love story there.
From the mind of Tim Burton.
From the mind of Tim Burton.
That's an original IP. Why did we never get more Edward Scissorhands?
I ended up going with Captain Jack, but I was really close to for the last costume party with going with Edward Scissorhands. I just couldn't figure out the hands.
I was going to say, how'd you drink? Just one hand?
Yeah, exactly.
Just one hand.
That's the tough part, right? Don't wash
Freddy Scissorhands. You can do that. Hey,
there you go, Freddy Scissy. All right, good stuff. That was a great list. So let's hear it for Rainbow on that list, and thank you, Mario. There it is, boom. So we're gonna take one more quick break, and then our go home spot. We have to finish off with Joe Bob's Last Drive-In, Vicious Vegas Valentine. And I guarantee you, the second film is going to be a really fast conversation.
All right.
Because it's terrifying.
I think I've had enough 19 crimes to hear that.
Uh-oh, he's done. He's out. How much of your glass is left? Let's see it, Mario.
There you go.
What do you got left? He said he had one glass. He was done after a glass.
It'll have to be done. All right, we'll BRB, and then we'll be back for Last Drive-In.
Boy, I'm bored. Don't be bored. Join the party. Call 1-976-8888. There's a great time waiting for you right now. Meet new friends or just listen in. Everybody's doing it. So call 1-976-8888.
Where was that party?
So, what are you waiting for? Don't be left out on all the fun. Call right now, 1-976-8888. 88 cents per minute billed to your phone. Brought to you by Omegaphone.
Just like you, I was really skeptical about which one of the party lines is really the best. It's 1-976-BEST. It's easier than going to some singles bar. The phone's right there within your reach. And it's a real kick because you get started talking with everyone on the line right away. I got together with this guy I met on the best party line, and I'll tell you, it's fun, exciting, and the best way for you to meet someone new. The best party line. It's just a phone call away.
Do you sometimes sit alone, wishing for the perfect fantasy? Has love passed you by? Do you dream of encounters with a perfect mate? Or spending precious moments getting close to someone you could really love? For just 99 cents per minute, indulge your fantasy. It's live. Call 1-976-DATE now.
I bet you think my favorite bubbly is champagne. Well, surprise. What I really love is Sun Country Wine Cooler. It's a truly marvelous blend of real fruit juice and premium wine. As a matter of fact, it's the best tasting cooler I've ever had. So when they asked me to talk about Sun Country, naturally I accepted. Sun Country. Say, gimme the real juice cooler. They told me I'd be working in fur, but this is ridiculous.
Wang announces the most important step in managing information since the computer, WangNet. WangNet is the electronic connection that gives anyone in your office any kind of information they need instantly by linking together every conceivable kind of office equipment, no matter who makes it. WangNet links you to floors below or satellites above, using just half its capacity, leaving room, of course, for Wang's next breakthrough in office automation.
I am here to make a pitch for Sun Country Peach. Why me? Because I'm crazy about the taste of peach. And Sun Country Wine Cooler is the most refreshing blend of premium wine and real peach juice I ever pitched. He has such a great taste. It's how you say it? Peachy, peachy. Sun Country. Say, give me the real juice cooler. You know, I don't mind doing cuchi in a bear suit, but it's so itchy. Caramba, me está matando tantas hormigas dentro de los pantalones.
Let's buy our small computer from the giant computer company. You can't beat Goliath.
No.
Right, David?
Sir, let's go with Wang. Nobody makes a better small computer or word processor. They're giant killers.
It happened before. It can happen again, because nobody's hungrier than Wang.
He's right.
I used to be frightened by all the wine coolers I saw. I was scared I wouldn't pick the right one. Luckily, I did. It was the most refreshing one of them all, Sun Country wine cooler. You see, Sun Country is a blend of premium white wine and real fruit juice. That's what gives it its great taste. Sun Country, say, give me the real juice cooler. If you don't say Sun Country, you'd better sleep with your lights on.
All over the world, Wang is the leader in office technology. Word processing, data processing, and now with our new electronic mail system, you can send all kinds of information from one part of the world to another. So New York can be around the corner from Paris, London from Tokyo, and San Francisco next to Rome. Wang, making the world more productive by bringing it closer together.
This is the tale of the Sun Country Kid. Rode into town on a horse he called Sid. Bought Sun Country wine coolers for one and all. Said, drinks are on me. Go on, have a ball. Sun Country's made from juice that's all real and premium wine for refreshing appeal. One sip and you'll know my story is true. Because when has this bear ever lied to you? Sun Country, say give me the real juice cooler. So ask for Sun Country. It's fun, never stuffy. And you can take that from a bear named Duffy.
Take us home. That's right. So we just gave me the office. That's the go home spot for tonight's house show live, which is actually the Fright Show live with remake. So, all right, we got to end it on. Yes, I've got to let your sting go. There it is. We got to end it on our favorite friend of the show, The Last Drive-In, with Joe Bob Briggs. Vicious Vegas Valentine double feature was this past Friday. 2 films, of course, mixed with a mutant wedding. That's right. 2 of our fellow mutants did get married on the show live. And that rapper was the most fun rapper that I think I've seen them do so far. I really feel like they upped their game. So they had John Brennan and Felicia Rose from Sleepaway Camp as the hype people for these people getting married. So John Brennan was taking the dude around Vegas, and she was getting the girl ready for the marriage before they got there. And that he played a character, and Felicia Rose just played a heightened version of herself, to the point where I tweeted and tagged him, was like, we need a show called Wedding Enforcers with these 2 people just wandering around Vegas, grabbing 2 people and forcing them to get married. It was that good. I don't know. The best part of that show sometimes is just the Joe Bob, depending on the movie, and they really raised their game, this one. But they did show 2 movies. So the 2 movies they showed, first one was The Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge. Have either one of you heard of this film before the Joe Bob special?
I had heard of it because Alamo has been playing it on occasion.
Okay.
And I tried to catch screening, but I did want to see it. What did you think of it? I was just enthralled by the young Pauly Shore.
Young Pauly Shore, like you said, you wanted to start saying "Wheeze the Juice" again.
Wheeze the Juice, yeah. I want to bring that back.
I mean, you can't get any more '80s than Pauly Shore, Morgan Fairchild in a mall with a Sam Goody and a Miller's Outpost. You had all these, mall cameos too that everybody was. It was the same mall that they use for a bunch of different movies.
Oh yeah, that's a famous mall.
That's like a famous. So the mall itself was a hit.
Chopping Mall, Commando, just to name a few.
And then you got Ken Foree. You know, we were talking earlier about Coleman Domingo, and you had the Dawn of the Dead, Peter, in the mall again for another. I thought everything about it. This really did a great job of like creating that 80s vibe. So I really enjoyed this film a lot. Like the kills were really good. Like that first one with the fan. Usually some of the kills you're like, okay, that didn't hold up. This one held up. And it was just, I don't know, everything about it. I even didn't mind the title. Of course, the title kind of gives it away, right? Eric's Revenge. Guess what? Eric's the heel. He's going to be the one that's going to taking people out.
It does give it away.
It kind of gave it in there. And these
As if Phantom of the Mall isn't a strong enough title.
It was a super strong title.
Who's Eric? If you're just the day person, why do you have to include Eric in there? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
And how 80s is it that, you know, Eric's parents are taken out by land developers? You know, those land developers, whether it's Poltergeist or Phantom of the Mall, these freaking land developers are scumbags. Yep. You moved the headstones, but you left the bodies. Why? Why?
The evils of gentrification.
That's
man.
right, man. It's a real deal. And yeah, Pauly Shore was in there as Buzz. We had Rob Estes in there. I feel like he was a 80s Skinamax day. Rob Estes was like he was in a ton of different 80s stuff. Perfect People. Do you remember Trapper County War?
No.
Aces, Iron Eagle 3. Rob Estes was going to be in any movie that was a great franchise, and they're like, okay, we can't get the other actors. Make sure Rob Estes is in there.
Let's get a guy who kind of looks like him.
And he had experience because in 1998, they like brought him back to Terror in the Mall. Rob Estes was in that. He's like, yeah, I know how to do Mall horror. Yeah, I don't know. It's 14%, man. Snoop's got me all tongue-tied.
Boy, it got you good.
Yeah, he did get me. So anyway, did you guys, so I don't know if you guys like, I take it as a badge of honor that now I try desperately to make it through. And I did miss the episode where you actually got the certificate if you made it through. And that was with, what's that Canadian horror movie that everyone hates? Things? Is it Things?
I like Things.
Yeah. If you make it through there, if you made it through Things, you had to write a report about Things and send it in, and then she'd send you a certificate that you made it through Things.
Things has a great soundtrack.
Yeah. So this one was, but again, Phantom of the Mall, I thought this was a great first start because I had no idea what we were in for after that. So film number 2 was Necromantic. So Necromantic is a 1988 West German horror exploitation film written and directed by, I don't know how to say his name, but I believe they were a band that just decided like, let's have a camera and just start filming weird shit. So it's been banned in a number of countries, and so you know right there, that's the Faces of Death vibe. Like if you see some of the original posters, and you get from the name, right? It's a guy, romance, and you know the whole necro thing. So they really got into that. So it's due to its transgressive subject matter, including necrophilia and audacious imagery. So audacious imagery, to say the least, because I don't want to describe the end to you. But this ending of this film was the most disturbing film ending that I've ever seen in my film life. Did not see it coming. And it's, imagine like somebody says, hey, let's get ice cream. And all of a sudden you get hit in the face with a baseball bat. That's the only way to describe this, because they gave you the warning and they had everybody was in the chapel. Can you imagine these two mutants are forever going to be tied to this movie? It's just like, yeah, we got married on Joe Bob, which is a film that, a show that showed a double feature of films. What were the films? Maybe we should watch that in our anniversary. Like, maybe not. One of my favorite tweets of the night, it says, if anybody walks in on you watching this movie, change the channel to porn really quick. But yeah, it's like, so we got.
Jeez, I'm gonna have to watch it. Is it up on Shudder?
It's still not up on Shudder, but I can tell you the end has full frontal, full fluids. That's all I'm gonna say. Full frontal and full. I don't think. Hopefully, the AI is okay with that. Full frontal, full fluids. That's how it ends. But so I don't think neither one of you survived. You wouldn't have got the.
I just could not stay up. I don't know. It's like you said, the first movie is so entertaining,
so good.
On that second break, it's just hard to stay up. I don't know, man. I'm gonna go back and revisit. I'm kind of angry at myself for not staying up to watch this.
I've seen my friend Curly Girl at the movies review it, and she gave some pretty graphic clips and scenes and scene descriptions, and I didn't realize it until after I was like reading the description on Wikipedia because I ran out of time before the stream, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm imagining everything, and she gave me everything. It was a pretty good long video. I do want to watch it just because I can say I watched it, or at least try to watch it. I'm not sure if I'll finish it, but it's and I get it. Like reading it on Wikipedia, the plot, I'm like, this is stupid. It's disgusting, but it's really not stupid. It is disgusting, but it is a thing that can happen because it talks about the trauma of this boy who sees, I guess, his parent mutilate and kill this rabbit of his, and it's super sad. And that is kind of the mentality of a lot of serial killers. Unfortunately, if you see if you see a person hurting an animal, it's more times than not going to be a serial killer later on in life, a child, if I didn't say that in the first place, or even a person. If you see a grown person doing that, they're likely a person who would harm another human being, because it's not that much different necessarily for them. And that's terrifying. And this movie is just displaying the life of somebody who actually exists among us, and there are plenty of them. And even though it's just so, in our minds, quote unquote, far-fetched, it's also just so real because these folks actually exist. I know there's a rapper called Necro, I believe, and it's just weird that he decides to like name himself that because there are a couple of songs of his that I like, and I'm like, bro, I'm listening to a man who calls himself Necro and actually talks about, having sex with dead bodies, but it's like, I'm not really into that part of it, but he is, talking about a thing that is a thing. It's a disease. Obviously, it's a mental disorder to like have that fetish, but it's a real thing, and it's scary. And when you find a love, when you find somebody who has that weird passion just like you do, and sometimes you don't even know that you guys have that, and you're together for a while and then you discover this thing together, that's almost even more disturbing and creepy because it grows almost more rapidly between the two of y'all, and then who knows what y'all would do to satiate that thirst. It's almost like being a cannibal, like with Bones and All. Like Bones and All needed to have a little bit of the necromantic vibe in it without the necrophilia. Like I wanted a little bit of a mixture, I guess, with that, as far as how far they were going to take those dark tones, so yeah, I guess in hindsight, like if Bones and All just took 2% of what necromantic had, it might have been a little bit raised better. The game.
Well, then I do agree. If you're a film fan, just go in for the experience, not for the entertainment, just so you can say you experienced it. I also recommend going back and watching the Joe Bob in-betweens, because everything you're saying, you're really echoing a lot of stuff he's saying. And then he got into a history of necrophiliac in the UK, and he started telling the backstory of that, and then how many different bodies he had, and he took selfies before there was a phone, and he went into the whole history of that. And when Joe Bob shows it, you have to respect it. Like everything you show, he's respected. He's never putting something up there for shock value. He's putting something up there to give you an experience, and then he's going to give you the backstory of why he's doing it in between. Those cuts are vital for a film like this.
Yeah.
You need those breaks.
Okay.
You need those breaks of him breaking down what's going on. I think that really, like, if you just sat and watched this film straight up by yourself, this is tough. And this is coming from somebody who watched Faces of Death when I was probably like 10 years old. Because it's like, and then you find out that was a work, but again, it's tough. That was a tough one to go through, and tough in a sense of, I think, for the animals. A lot of people had trouble, and then you get into the mental health question. It's just like, wait a minute. So you're gonna wince if a rabbit gets whacked or a cat gets whacked, but you're not gonna wince if a person gets whacked. So it really does say like
correct,
right?
Yes.
Because again, and
You're right.
and Darcy gets into that too, and I thought that's always such a fascinating conversation to have. Like, wait, you're okay with that? And then she was really passionate, right? She's a vegan, so she really gets into it. It's like, yeah, now you're talking about innocence of something that didn't have a choice and didn't have a say.
Yeah.
So again, I recommend it with the disclaimer, just like be ready for
Here's
that
the thing.
ending.
Only watch Necromantic with Joe Bob's commentary.
I think that's solid booking, because it adds to it to have someone that's walking you through it, sort of like giving you the explainers in between. Is I think that's useful. I think that's what's great about that show, because Joe Bob is his gimmick, but he's a serious film journalist.
Yeah,
that's what he did. That's what he did at first, and he created the Joe Bob gimmick to get himself over with the character,
and it worked.
I mean, Joe Bob he wrote a crime novel that got turned into a Hulu series just like last year.
Oh, that's right. That was based on his thing that he wrote. Yeah, I mean, you can tell his journalism. He writes all his own stuff, and when it's impressive to watch him just like rattle through so effortlessly on what he needs to say and what he wants to do. So, if you have Shudder, highly recommend it. We'll even tell you officially. I'll give you my password if you want password in here. If you don't have it,
Yeah, I do.
Yes, Shudder.
No, I totally like. I almost pressed play, and I was just like, I just don't have the time, just because like I knew what it was at the time. I was like, let me just wait until tomorrow. Oh, I'll wait till tomorrow, and then I just literally ran out of time. But with his commentary, with that note that you gave, I'm totally down to check it out because I do want to watch it.
2-screen experience, because I was watching, I had his commentary, and we were communicating on Twitter with all the other people that were going through this experience together. That really did help. I don't know if I'd want to watch this like I did with Skinamarink. I took Mario's advice. It was like 1 a.m.
So I can't tell. Did you like Skinamarink or not?
That's another one that I just would consider experience. Like I enjoyed the journey. It could be a tough movie to watch again because getting it to compelling. There's no real story. The story wrapper is very light, and it's more about just going through these experiences. So I enjoyed it because it was so late. I turned on some dark lights. I put myself in a certain zone. If I was just sitting there, if I went to the theaters, I don't know how I would have felt. If I would have felt a little bit different, I don't know. Did you see it in theaters or did you see it at home?
I actually saw it before it hit theaters. I got a link from a buddy of mine, so I was able to see it at home before most folks. And I saw it once, and then I watched it again with the subtitles. And I should have watched it the first time with the subtitles, because I'm already hard of hearing, to be perfectly honest. And but because it was so quiet, I figured I'd hear most things. But the second time around, there were so many things that I just didn't hear or understand what I was hearing. Like I didn't understand that was a car driving away. I was like, okay, that's a huge plot point.
That's a huge plot point.
But it was definitely just an immersive experience in a way, because it kind of tricked your brain with what you were looking at because of all the distortion and dirtiness and sort of pixelation, but not pixelation, but just fuzziness of the picture. It kind of just messed with you and what you were looking at, especially with the disappearing windows and doors. It really would have benefited just being like half as long, or even just 20, 30, 40
it was way too long. Way too long.
It just was the same thing over and over again, but like I got it. Like I understand why you wanted it to be almost 2 hours long, because you wanted it to feel like you wanted it to feel. But I really just like this theory. So I came across this theory of the boy in the movie having been basically in a coma and kind of just seeing these things happening around him. And I kind of took that theory a step further and thought, well, maybe the boy died and now he's kind of haunting the house. And this is his experience
I like
of
that.
haunting the house. And he's kind of just reliving this moment, or he's seeing the moment and coming through, like it happened and now he's kind of seeing it and now he's living after the fact. Because the repetitiveness, again, you have this with the cartoon. Like, as humans, we should kind of hate it, but we also love it at the same time. And with that cartoon, with the whoop,
Yes.
whoop, over and over again, it just drives you crazy. And a lot of that, is kind of carried throughout the film. And then we had these pops of like jump scares and things, and it's really effective. It was just entirely too fucking long, and if
Way
it was
too
just
long.
20, 30, maybe 40 minutes, it would have had a way better response.
Short movies are okay. Give us some short
Yeah.
movies.
Yes.
I would be okay with a 65-minute movie if it's satisfying.
Yeah.
I'm okay
Agreed.
with that. By 65 minutes in, I'm out of popcorn. I have to decide if I want to get up for a soda refill or not.
Yeah.
And just the movie's over. Is okay. Well, I mean, less calories.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm a big proponent of just let's go ahead and just make shorter films. It's okay. We can have shorter
To that
features.
point, I think we mentioned earlier a band made a movie, and it reminded me of this other movie. What band were we talking about that made a movie a second ago?
Oh, Necromantic. I think they were.
Oh, okay. It was a
Yep.
band.
Yep.
Well, another band called Boy Harsher also made a movie that I just want to talk about it every chance that I get. It's called The Runner, and it's 44 minutes long, and they call it a feature. It's also on Shudder, but it's basically, to me, a short film. Anything under 60 minutes to me is a short film, and it's written, directed, produced, and even starring Boy Harsher, a really cool band. Descriptive words are eluding me right now, but they have like an 80s vibe to them. And it's like a zombie girl just going through her day trying to figure some shit out. It's bloody and it's awesome, but it's basically a long music video. And I absolutely love it because you get performances from Boy Harsher, a 2-person band, and you have this narrative that we're following, and it's perfect at 44 minutes. And yeah, Skinamarink could take a note from that, and it's just cool to hear that Necromantic, even though I haven't seen it, was made by a band, which makes it even, like, to me, cooler, makes me more excited to actually watch it, to be honest. So, but also watch The Runner on Shudder.
Oh, I didn't know that was on Shudder.
I think content length is out the window at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
We should go ahead and just free ourselves of that because, I would love a 44-minute feature film. Sounds great. But by the other token, I love on Shudder the In Search of Darkness documentaries, which are like 4.5 hours long.
Yes.
With no cuts, no breaks.
So good. Yeah, that's just so watchable.
You just put them on and just let it go.
Yeah.
I love the 4.5 hour
pause
docs
it,
on
come
Shudder.
back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just soothing to let it go. I love hearing him talk about all this stuff. I still haven't sat down to watch the third one. I'm waiting for like the perfect scenario. I want to put it on early in the morning when I get up and start to clean up things or whatever and put the dishes away and just let it go and probably let it loop twice.
You're gonna love it. I mean, I'm like 45 minutes in, so it's only not even a quarter away, but it's really good. I don't know if you've seen them. All 3 of them are really good, and they announced that 4th one that's coming. You just let it again. That's something that some people will put on like HGTV or House Hunters or something like that. That's In Search of Darkness. You can just put that sucker on and just let it run. I would loop that all day in my house. Just let it run.
That's my HGTV.
That's it. But didn't you guys, and real quick, this will be our last spot. Didn't you feel like when music videos really started taking off and then people started getting really elaborate with their, music videos, and of course everyone knows like Thriller was a little bit of a contained movie, but even Guns N' Roses started doing that. I felt like what you're saying, what Boy Harsher doing, I felt like that's the direction we were going because music is so important and integral part of the film experience itself. Like, you can not even like a song or think about a song, but then when you see it married to a film, then you will love that song the rest of your life.
100%.
Yes. So,
or love it even more after
exactly.
the fact. Yes.
And it's just like
I
you hear it
love
in
that.
the movie and you're like, okay, good.
Ugh.
I just really thought that more bands were going to start doing that and just tie that together. I thought Michael Jackson was a trendsetter at the time. It's like, well, I'm going to get Vincent Price to do a narration and we're going to turn it into like a Wolfman zombie thing. I was like, okay, this is where things are going.
And also Michael Jackson disavows it at the very beginning. So it gives it that extra street cred.
Yeah.
It's like when you see a movie and it's like, this is based on actual events. Instead, Michael Jackson just completely buries the whole thing. Says, I do not believe in the occult and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, I forgot
here's
about
the video.
that. I forgot about that. Yeah, he did kind of ruin his own spot. But yeah, I'm definitely going to check out The Runner. And
yes, please do.
For festivals, right? It's usually 45 minutes and lower is considered a short.
It's like countries too, in like regions are dependent on what they consider. Like some people will consider a 45-minute movie a feature length or 60-minute or 70-minute. Like for me personally, I'm just taking it as 60 minutes or less, or 55 minutes or less to me is a short film.
That's your short.
Like other people are gonna say it's a feature, but in my book, I'll say that.
What's great about streamers like Shudder, and I think Netflix is starting to do it. They need to just have a section for shorts and like really just to kind of cultivate that section of the work, because there's a lot of stuff that you don't need so long to tell a story. Like you said, Skinamarink needed like an hour and they added 40 minutes. They probably could have got away. I mean, literally, it's a movie that you feel like when you're watching it, you already feel like your eyes are closed. Like when people, you try to describe it, like, I don't know. I couldn't tell if I felt like I was in one of those sensory deprivation tanks. I'm like, wait, did I close my eyes and I didn't realize it? Because it started putting images that weren't really there, and then I'd have to pause it, and then I had to rewind it. It's like, wait, did I really just see that? So as it is, like if you require that, just make it short. You could have got the point across in 45 minutes.
Give us a 1 hour movie.
Because I mean, some people are like making short films in order to make a bigger film. They're like, hey, here's my proof of concept. Let me show you what I could do with the full film. But it's like sometimes some stories just don't need that full hour and a half or full hour and 15-20 minutes. That story could be manipulated in a way to where it could stretch out to that. But you gave me this 5-10 minute short, and then you just gave me the 5-10 minute short in 90-minute form and gave me nothing more.
Right.
I need more.
Yes.
So it depends on the writing for sure.
Absolutely.
Any story can be elongated, but yeah.
Awesome.
Got to do it right.
Got to do it right. All right, that was our go home spot. So, Rainbow, thank you so much for coming on here. Finally, we made it happen. We're going to make this happen again because this was too much fun. We went way over time, so we appreciate you staying on here, but it was just too much fun to talk about it. So before we go, though, I want to give you a chance to plug anything that you want to plug. Obviously, I'm going to put your link in the description so we can follow you on there. You have great content in there. So is there anything you got coming up you want to plug?
Thank you so much. Yes, I just recently uploaded my Freddy franchise ranking video, and Nightmare on Elm Street. I uploaded that last week. So if y'all want to check that out, please feel free. After today, what I've got coming is a Patreon review of Bad Lieutenant. It's not necessarily horror, but it's crime drama, and crime drama is so great. I love true crime, and spoiler alert, I love Bad Lieutenant. It was great.
So good.
So that's coming out very soon. And hopefully I've got a couple of more shorts coming out. I went hard on shorts in December, and I've just been trying to stay on that train and keep that going, so keep an eye out for more of my shorts. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Letterboxd, and Twitter. All variations of rainbowFRIGHT, but if you head to my YouTube channel, you'll see all those links there. So they've linked me. Dos Incredibles have linked me in the description box. So if you go there, you'll see all of those links in my About section. And I'll see you all on the rainbowFRIGHT Great Train. Thank you so much for having me.
You definitely will. So we're going to give you the go. We just like I want you to end this show the way you would normally end a video. That's going to be our go home. You're the guest. This is Fright Show Live. Take us home.
Okay, well, thank you again so much for joining us. We appreciate all of you fellow Stardust so much. If you enjoyed today's video, please share it with your friends and hit the like button. I'm so caught off guard and on the spot, but thank you again so much, and we hope to see you next time.
Yes.
Peace.
And the music's over.